Hello, guys. Good evening.
Good evening. Hey, Omar. Nice to see you.
Likewise. What's up, Andre?
Doing all right. Very excited about this session.
How are you, Hassan?
I'm doing amazing. My videos are finally uploaded to YouTube, so that we finally can see them.
I saw. I'm looking forward to that. What's up, Jeremy?
Hello,
How are you, Jeremy?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, all good. We've got Tavi. What's up, Tavi? I think Tavi, you're on mute.
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Excellent. We can hear you. How are you, Tavi?
I'm doing good, thanks. And you?
Very, very well, thank you. Where are you joining us from?
I'm from joining from Estonia.
Estonia. Wow, that's awesome. Good evening, Marcel. Hope you're doing well. Can you hear us? We'll give Marcel a few moments. Just give it a few minutes, guys, as we just let different people join. And I'm just setting up a couple of the live links as well for our live stream. Who watched the F1 today?
One of the best races for a McLaren fan.
Exactly. So, since you're a McLaren fan, what's your opinion on the team orders today?
I mean, I agree with the team orders. I don't agree with getting to that point. I have no idea why they didn't pit Piastri.
Well, one driver has to go for the championship. And what do you think would have happened if that was Red Bull and it was Perez in second, Max was first? Would they ever switch?
I mean, Verstappen already proved he won't do that last year, so I don't think they would have.
Yeah, there's some different schools of thought, I guess. It was very humble of Norris to concede in the end. I thought he wasn't going to give it up, the position.
No, I thought he was going to give it up, but he really showed that he could get a 6-second advantage. That was crazy.
Yeah. I think they should prioritize the quick driver, the guy who's got more points. Anyone else watch the race today?
Yes,
Yeah,
I did. Sorry.
Welcome, Marcel. How are you?
Some mic troubles. Sorry.
No worries. Who do you support, Marcel, in F1?
Ferrari, regardless of the driver.
Ah, okay. You're a Ferrari.
So I have very bad years.
No, tell me about it. How was the race today? I think it was better though, from especially both drivers.
McLaren, come on. Really, they made a mess of the tactics and then handling the situation. Sorry, Andre, but it was really terrible what they did to the drivers.
Was that the strategy, you feel, or?
No, the switching position thing.
I missed the race live, that's why. So I just caught whatever highlights they put on YouTube.
Yeah, they pulled in Norris first, and then he did an undercut. And that wasn't supposed to happen because Piastri was faster.
Yeah.
They really made a mess.
Gotcha.
But hey, that's an opinion.
Of course, it's great to hear everyone's opinion. Anyone else have anything to add from today's race? It's always nice.
This was a bad day to be a Red Bull fan for me.
Both. What happened to Perez by that? I didn't catch his finish. Where did he finish?
I think he finished P7 or 8, about there.
Okay.
But it wasn't the points. But still, I don't understand how he still is. How he still is on the team.
There's a rumor he'll be gone after the summer break.
Yeah, I kind of
hearing lots of things.
I miss the Paris that won from last week. That was the GOAT.
Yeah.
He's just terrible.
What's your opinion on Max? And he had a fallout with the engineer as well. I think throughout the race.
Yeah, I heard it. I feel like the strategy could have been better because going for the undercut, when you need to overtake people, it's a little bit harder
Yep.
because it's such a small track. So I think the strategy could be better. And yeah, so I understand Max's frustration. Just did not understand the dive bomb that he did on Lewis.
Yeah, I think
It
Max
was-
will always go for that kind of move, though. He's an all-out driver. He won't hold back. Actually, I mean, you go back to the final race in Abu Dhabi. When he won
Yeah, I
in
remember.
2021.
Yeah.
Like that dive bomb was unexpected. That was very soon, actually. But
Yeah.
he's an aggressive driver, and that it went wrong today, I guess. And I think throughout the weekend, since Friday practice, he was having these sassy moments with his engineer.
Yeah.
And he called him out on the team radio. He said, "I'm not even going to bother to defend you. This is very childish." I thought that was ruthless from him. Guys, let's just give it a couple more minutes as I'm just putting up a post on our Instagram, because we've got lots of people who are following the channel but don't have a direct link to it. So I've just put the link out now on Insta so people can join as well. And we can get started. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So it's nice to see how Track Help is developing. And the idea is we're going to keep these at least once a week. And it's great to see lots of new members joining every week. Whether that's in the academy, whether that's people submitting footage. We're having regular drivers. We also have some new drivers. Tavi, this is your first Track Help session, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Excellent. I know a top driver from Estonia, Ragnar. I think, is it Ragnar? Let's just check his exact name. Yeah, Ragnar Virus, Rotax world champion for DD2.
Yeah. I know him
He
by the name, no, not personally.
okay, because he runs Kartlytics, which is a pro kart training
Yeah.
program.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
yeah, he makes some really good content, and of course, a top driver. He won the Rotax World Finals for DD2, which is the shifty carts last year. Have you ever met him or raced at the tracks that he goes to?
I haven't met him personally, but I've raced on the tracks where he's done like instruction videos or something like that. So
Awesome. And you find them useful?
I think so, but he's mostly creating videos about the professional karting or professional karts. I do only hobby karts or go karts. So
Gotcha. And I see the footage you shared as well. It's from
yeah, you can try.
Training session actually, and we're going to get to that. Hopefully, it's really great bit of information you put on your post. You got some track diagrams and clear points you want to go over. The way we're going to continue Track Live or Track Help, guys, is let's keep it to 5 videos every week. Otherwise, we'll be here all night. Some sessions went on 4 or 5 hours. It can go on all night, but we've got 5 videos today to review in first submit, first review order. So we had Andre, he submitted his first. We'll then go to Tassos. Hopefully Tassos will join us soon. Then we'll go to Tavi. After that, we'll go to Hassan. And I believe somebody else also submitted. We'll just wait for them to join after. So Andre, you got a couple of bits of footage to review. And talk me through the 2 tracks, I think it is, right? There's one outdoor, one indoor track.
Yeah, so the one indoor is the one which we reviewed, I think, a month or 2 ago. I improved a lot since then.
Nice.
That is less important for me because we already reviewed it once. I just want to see what can I do next. Yep. The other one is the outdoor, the one that I like most. It's the one that's not close to me, but that's where all the competitions are. So that's the one I am more interested in improving on, and also don't really know where to start from. And also I spent some time annotating and making this nice.
And this is Premier Raceway? Is that how you say it?
You pronounce it Prejmer. That's a J.
Prejmer Raceway.
Yeah.
I do recall this track. Is it your footage we watched or someone else's footage?
Definitely not mine.
This is your footage, though.
This is my footage, the one you're
Yeah,
showing.
yeah. Because yes, I remember we watched. I forgot the guy. It might have been John or somebody on YouTube who had some footage that time. And is this one of your best laps, basically?
The best lap by a far margin, yeah.
Amazing. How long ago was this?
So if you're looking at the description, I think it's everything there, but let me pull it up so I can answer questions while you're showing that.
Sure. And I'm pulling up from my app as well because just want to have both available.
So this is from exactly a month ago, 20th of June.
Super.
So, and it was actually one of my latest laps. After that, I haven't had a chance to, I was on holiday and haven't had a chance to go to the track.
Okay. And you got some key information over here for us. Track layout is obviously on our top right. The main thing we're looking for is temperature. When it comes to outdoor, temperature will affect a lot. And 32 degrees is quite nice.
Yeah.
I mean, is that quite hot for Romania? Is this in Romania, right?
It's in Romania. It's center of Romania, so more in the mountains. It's very hot.
Yeah, 32 degrees.
Yeah.
I was going to say, how did the carts react compared to other days, maybe like earlier in the year? Did you feel that the engine was running as fine, or
so
was it a little restricted?
So that's very funny. Everybody at the track says that the engine is losing top speed. It doesn't really happen to me, or I'm not feeling it. I don't know. To me, it just feels much grippier, which I like. But the biggest issue for me is understeer in all corners, and I don't really struggle that much with top speed. So this was actually helping me a lot, which is weird.
Yeah, bit more track temperature will give you a bit more grip. You see, once it becomes humid, that's where the engine will really suffer. Currently in the Middle East, it's very humid, and we're seeing 1 second to 1.5 second differences on days where it's normal and days where it's very humid. And the humidity, to give you context, can be literally seen in the air. You can see from a distance this mist kind of thing, and on glass on different buildings, it's just covered. So that basically restricts the engine from opening up. It almost can't breathe, if you want to think of it like that. But 32 degrees would just, was it humid?
You can see it in the distance as well. Not that humid. Like you can see the mountains quite well, except I never watched the humidity. It's the first time I'm hearing about it from you. So
yeah, it's honestly a feeling thing. You'll feel it in there.
Yeah,
you didn't feel humid.
Didn't feel humid. I was all sweaty and I was drying like instantly. So
yeah, you're driving 390cc karts, which are the top spec of rental karts. This is very important, especially for the type of track you're driving at, where it's pretty much a professional track. So anything slower than this, let's say a 9 horsepower kart or 270cc, would actually just feel too slow. Are there different karts at this track you can drive?
Yeah, there are 3 types, but so it's this guy. There's a dual post. It's usually for kids and parents.
Yeah.
And there's a children version, which is I think 9 horsepower.
Excellent. So this is the top end one.
It's the top end one and the only one available for adults.
Super. Now, just by reviewing this a couple of times as we've been talking, I like how, number one, using all of the track. That's very important at outdoor tracks. Use white lines or curbs as references. Mainly, what do you feel you're struggling with? Is it certain corners? I mean, you mentioned the last sequence. Beyond that, are there any further doubts you're having?
There is one particular corner that I have doubts, and other than that, it's just the overall feeling. So looking, like comparing my lap against others, I'm losing kind of equally on all sectors. There's no particular sector which I'm slower.
Okay, because we can focus on the last sector. I'm just trying to figure out this full screen. Give me one moment. Let's try and remove this. I see you've been incorporating leaning, human DRS. How does that feel in some of the corners?
Leaning not that much, maybe just because of the G-forces. The human DRS, like just leaning forward, helps a lot, which I'm surprised. I was not expecting it to have such a big impact.
You felt on timing it helped?
On timing, yeah. I mean, it doesn't. it's hard to know because you're shifting everything. It's hard to know if you're actually going faster, but on timing it helps a lot. So I'm gonna do it if I have to do it. It's weird.
We're basically coming to the middle sector now, and let's actually open up a full share screen so we can annotate a little as well.
Mhm.
And you can just point clearly actually where the sector starts.
So the one corner where I have issues is this exact one, but I'm not having issues with the corner. I'm having issues with the asphalt, if that makes sense. Like my kart is always jumping like a kangaroo in that particular corner. I don't know if it's doing something wrong or if it's just the way the track is. I'm seeing it in other videos too.
Coming through this right-hand turn?
Exactly, this right-hander. You can see it on the video.
You can even see a little bit of juddering through there.
Yeah. So my camera has stabilization, so it feels much worse than it looks.
Exactly. And that's a common thing to note. What happens is in this kind of situation is there's just too much grip. And has this been freshly surfaced or?
Not in the past 2 years. So
not in the past years. Okay. It could even be then the angle or banking of the corner. And do you think it's slightly uneven, you'd say?
I haven't done a track walk.
You haven't done a track walk, okay.
No,
that's a couple of factors. Also, fresh tires. I don't know when they change these tires. Is that a consistent thing where it always shakes, or is it just time to time?
It's consistent. It's always with all tires in all weathers. Like even last year, it was the same.
Gotcha. Some corners you have to actually just ride the bumps, and I found that's a trend at some outdoor tracks and even indoor tracks. Experimenting at those tracks when I've faced those issues, the less speed you take. So let's say we start lifting, and then or even add in some brake. Let's say for this corner, just to really reduce the speed. We found that loses you too much time. So it's actually faster to just ride the bumps and basically try and keep the RPMs as high as possible.
Mm-hmm.
That should be the main focus for a big outdoor track like this, especially in the 390cc karts. How can we keep as high RPMs as possible? Be observant of the engine sound as well. And you'll find, have you attempted to take this corner almost flat out? I know you're currently lifting.
Yeah, I'm lifting a bit, yeah.
Have you attempted a flat out turn before?
This particular one, no. But I guess I have to increase the radius then and miss the apex.
What you can do is enter it ever so slightly wider. So as you mentioned, we're going to try and make the entry. Oops, just give us 1 second over here. At the moment, you're entering it from the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Is that because you're trying to reduce the meters to the next corner, taking a shorter path?
It's mainly because I'm trying to stay on the gas as much as possible. If I keep going on the left, then it just reduces the throttle a bit. Well, it reduces the speed a bit.
Okay. What you can try to do in terms of taking a bit more speed through this corner and still ride the bumps, because I feel this juddering issue where the kart shakes, you're just going to have to drive through it.
Okay.
Manipulate the kart in 2 ways. Number one, taking a wider entry so you can try and carry a bit more speed. And when we enter the corner wider, we almost want to apply a mini slide on entry, especially when you're going flat out, just beyond the limit of grip. You might feel the rear end of the kart rotate a lot. What's happening here? You're quite smooth with your entry. If you notice your steering wheel itself, you're smoothly turning to the right, and then a little lift just before the apex of the corner, and then you're feeding the power just at the apex of the turn. But throughout, if you notice your steering wheel, it's staying consistently almost a full lock to the right, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
just by taking a bit more speed, we're trying to achieve, it's what we call the slip angle, actually. So it's a sharp initial turn-in. Number one, you need to have a wider corner entry. The harder you can initiate a rotation, use your body, lean out. So we're loading outside tires with more grip. The more the kart will actually tend to oversteer. So what will happen is you'll initiate a sharp turn-in from a wide angle, lean your body out, just like you do, you initiate a sharp turn-in, and pretty much about here, once if you're able to hit the sweet spot, you'll start to feel the oversteer. So as opposed to turning right, you'll now be bringing the steering wheel back to the middle and maybe even a bit to the left, controlling that slide.
Mhm.
What we want to do is establish the difference between overdriving, which is where we're going to counter steer excessively. So you see how much rotation you currently have?
Yeah.
Imagine that, but the opposite. When you counter steer, that's too much. So try to think about keeping the wheel as neutral as possible, or maybe a few degrees of counter steer. Let's say 15, 20 degrees, 30 degrees even.
In order to reduce the oversteer, that's the...
Exactly. And actually control the oversteer with the lean. You see, the more you lean, the more the kart will grip. That's the idea. We're transferring weight to the outside tires, so it can hopefully give you more grip. And yeah, the kart is naturally going to bump through here. But by taking this more aggressive approach, these are slightly more powerful rental karts as well. I reckon there might be a couple of tenths to be found just by entering it slightly wider, aggressive turn-in, keeping your foot pin to the floor, throw your body weight to the outside, initiate a mini slide, right? Get the rear end to step out a little, control the oversteer, continue apexing as you are, and keep that gas all the way to the exit. And I reckon, I don't know if you've experimented on this curb here, putting a couple of wheels over it.
Oh, yeah.
Using-
I usually, so not in this run, which I'm going to be faster, but usually I put wheels on there's a vibrator. You're going to hear it.
Yeah. Actually, the more speed you can carry, the more runoff you can use. And this will help you keep your revs high. When we limit ourselves to stay within the white line, then we're having to put more steering angle in, and it'll naturally slow down a bit. So that's one thing you can try, for that corner.
Yeah, so this is a technique I've never heard of. So again, the summary is I have to sharp turn just to start and oversteer.
That's it.
Hold it with leaning, but never leave it's full throttle, never leave the foot off the gas, you see.
That's it. So keep the gas committed. That will mean you need to take a wider entry because this is a bit too tight. Otherwise, what will happen if you go full over here, you might make it to the early part of the corner, but then you'll end up wide.
Yes.
You'll basically slide out too much. So that's something you can try, experiment. It's always good to use that. But the key is be quite aggressive with your body weight itself. Lean a lot to the outside, especially at bumpy parts of the track. The more you lean to the outside, the more grip you're going to apply to the outside wheels of the kart, and it should reduce some of the shaking. It's normal to experience that at some corners, not to worry about too much.
And then leaning, should it be smooth or should I just bump the chair a bit?
I think it should be quite aggressive. As I said, bump the chair a little. What you'll find in the seat, there's a curved edge on the corners. So on the right shoulder and on the left. And think of that as a pocket where you want to lean into. So generally, rental kart seats are very big. So you got space to move around.
Right.
And if you can try and lean into those pockets of space, those curved edges, the corners, that's a nice, comfy spot to get into without hurting your sides. Is this the final sector we're pretty much approaching now? If I've come up to this correctly?
I haven't really annotated the sectors. You have to add the S1 and S2 numbers and then look at the number on top.
I just want to focus on the part you were struggling on. As you mentioned.
So I would say is this one, right after the double right turn, the double apex, that part. So this is double apex. Actually, starting from here because not from here.
Yeah, we even have a nice red line as a reference. So
bunch of references. Yeah, there's that red line. Yeah,
red line. So we got a double right into a fast left, almost a double left.
and then a double right again.
Ah, okay, excellent.
And then
excellent.
it's the straight. Like the better I can do that, the better the straight entrance.
Right. This looks like a fun series of corners. Typical, high-speed final section where actually the more you can keep the revs high and get the best possible exit, especially out this corner, the more it'll contribute towards a better lap for this you're completing, and then obviously starting the next lap. It's very, very important. I'm just trying to locate. Okay, I see on the track map. If we look on our top right, you can see we start the sector over there. So I'm going to use a pink dot. Let's say this is my red line, and then the S is where the start finish line is.
Yep.
So double right into the left. You can even identify this part as almost a high-speed chicane. A chicane is where it goes from left to right or from right to left.
Yeah.
For this first sequence, the double right, I noticed you were braking. Is there any reference for braking, or is it just on feeling kind of thing?
I think I'm just lifting. I don't think I'm.
Is it lifting over here? Okay.
Yeah.
Carrying a nice bit of speed. I'm just watching your pedals over here. Lift. Yep, you're right. A quick lift early in the corner.
So usually, I'm not sure if this is a good technique, but usually I lift the same time I start turning.
Excellent. Yes.
Just to help the fronts a little bit, bite a little bit, and then I push the gas again. That's
it. You're getting the hang of this advanced lifting technique where you're manipulating also the kart rotation like that. If you can be a little aggressive on steering input, and that moment where you're coasting, so there's no gas, there's no brakes, it's easier to rotate the kart if you're sharp with your inputs. So what you're able to do here is get nice and close to the first apex, feeding the power back down. So it's interesting actually, if we put this in slow-mo and really look at the pedals on the bottom side of the screen. So lift there, still lifting, coasting, and now you can see you're feeding the power. Yeah. I'm just watching your footwork again. A brief lift just to make sure you can get to this corner. If you notice the second right-hand corner over here, slightly tighter. I don't know. It just looks narrower. Is that what it is in real life, you feel, compared to the first one? Or is it about the same?
It feels like that because you see it's like even on the map, you see it's curving a bit more in order to get on the double left.
That's it.
So it feels like the track is ending just because it's kind of like going even more to the right, while on the first corner you have a wider runoff area, even that vibrator, which I never touch.
Yeah. Going to the right, and what you do is you immediately cut across to the left now. Foot pin to the floor. Is that a mini lift I see on the entry of the left?
So
you
this
lifting
one,
over here?
So on this part, that's why I'm not sure. I keep lifting and pressing without any sort of like science behind. It's very easy to hear it on the headphones. It's very hard to see it, obviously, because it's a left turn.
Okay.
But there's no sign. I have no idea when I'm pressing. It's just by feeling. I don't know when I'm pressing, when I'm lifting.
I believe there might have been a brief lift. We're going to watch with audio again after. Definitely a lift over here. Yeah. For this entry of the chicane. As we mentioned, the chicane in this case is a left into a right. And what you'll notice is the left is little less corner radius than the fast right. So you get a smooth entry over here. You're using a bit of the curb, which can help with rotation. And then you're trying to flick the kart to the right. Aggressive turning. There's two apexes as well, if you notice, or two curbs, should I say. So this is the first curb, which you're actually getting close to, and the second curb coming off. Awesome. Couple of ways you can now experiment on your line. I really feel this fast sequence. You can manipulate once again with your body weight. You really lean your body out to the left-hand side at corner. And the idea is specifically, if we take this lap in isolation, what you are doing is you're lifting early. You're still lifting. Even after the apex, you're still off the gas, and now you're feeding your foot back down. If you notice,
Right.
so think about coasting less. Basically, it's good to coast as you're doing lift and turn. Excellent. I would say get on the gas as soon as possible, but that doesn't mean you have to be 100%. You see, the moment you start coasting all the way as you're doing over here, we're guaranteed to be losing speed, we're decelerating, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even if we change this up now, we lift, get the rotation of the cart towards our desired apex, and now, just before the apex, start feeding the power, 20%, 30%, 40%, maybe 50%. And I want you to be on the limit of grip. The way you know you're on the limit of grip is where you're going to feel a bit of a slide. As we mentioned, the slide is not so excessive where you're completely counter steering. No, this steering wheel will neutralize, come back to the middle. You might be applying a slight bit of opposite rotation, but get that movement on the cart. That means you're at the limit of grip, and you're maximizing all that potential of the cart. Sometimes you can find yourself under driving, where you want to be as smooth as possible, but to get to that next level and maybe gain a tenth or two, you've got to be a bit more aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually a driving style. So what you'll notice with top drivers in rentals and race karts, they manipulate the cart rotation with their body a lot, so they'll lean quite a lot in corners, and they're on the limit of sliding. So they're literally, counter steering slightly through corners. That's what you want to try and achieve. How do we achieve that? Well, add a bit of gas in. So I reckon if you're able to get on the gas, as we said, 50% even, slightly earlier, and then by the time we get to this point, which is entry of the second right, then you can start feeding more and more power. Is the second right flat, if I'm not mistaken, or is still a bit of a lift? It was a brief lift on this lap.
So I think I'm lifting a bit in order to, I'm usually lifting a bit in order to make the apex.
Make the apex, okay. Yeah, not bad. So I don't mind you continue to do that, but just lift off the gas, get rotation, get back on the gas, keep feeding the gas, keep feeding the gas. Now find the limit. If you're sliding too much, if you go flat out through the second right, then go back to your lifting technique as you're doing again. But again, lift early, lean your body out, lean your body to the left-hand side over here, load the outside tires with grip. Whenever you have a double right or double left-hand sequence, imagine that as a long corner where you can lean excessively. Mm-hmm. It's a game changer once you start applying that shift of your body weight. I like how you're apexing over here as well. You're getting nice and close to the curb. That looks about fine. A couple of ways you can take this next sequence now. And what you're doing is you're immediately shifting off to the left-hand side, reducing the meters, taking the shortest path possible to the left-hand turn. And you're getting relatively early or near to the apex. Yeah?
Right.
And what we're doing then is we're holding our line. So we've approached the curb early in the corner, holding it close to the left and staying tight. Have you tried taking a later turn in and a wider entry? So wide entry, late turn in. How is that done when you go a bit towards this side and delay the turn in a little?
I think I haven't tried because I usually end up way more on the left than here because I carry too much speed through the previous corner.
Yeah.
So you're saying carry a bit less speed so that I can, or stick more to the right?
Stick more to the right. Keep the speed the same. But what we're going to do, as opposed to cutting immediately to the left and taking a shorter path, why don't we widen up the entry? Think about taking a later turn in. So what we're going to do for this left-hand turn is skip the early apex. This is technically early apex, right? The corner is beginning. Skip the early apex and get into the mid to late apex range. So what you'll be doing is you'll be starting wide and cutting across the track and ending up somewhere here as your first apex point. And then you can keep it on the left. Remember, wider we can take the entry, the more speed we can carry, right?
So I think I tried that. So there are two reasons why I was not doing it. So maybe I was doing something wrong there. First, yes, it's further because now I have to go back to the right and then back to the left.
Yeah.
But then I end up too close to the apex, I guess. Well, the middle of the two apexes, so I can't make the second apex.
Okay.
Of this double left.
So you're saying you're going to get close. Let's say
So
you've hit the apex over here.
Yeah, and then you see how the line I'm taking is pushing me kind of wide, so then I'm wider at the next apex.
You're naturally going to go off. Yeah.
Exactly. If I take a late apex, then I'm going to do an early apex on the next one because I'm way too close.
True. But for the next one, yeah, you're going to be more on the left-hand side.
Exactly.
The next one, I'd prefer you to do an early apex. And the reason you want to go quite early, similar to what you're doing here, this is actually early to mid apex, is you want to think about cutting across to the left-hand side of the track slightly. Reason you want to cut across to the left-hand side of the track, ever so slightly, yeah, not all the way out here, just slightly open up the angle of the corner so we have a more flowing angle for the fast right, yeah? So this is a really, fascinating sequence because each corner will dictate the entry for the next corner. And we've got to think ahead all the way to actually, how can we get the best exit for the final corner? I get what you mean by that. I'd still recommend, again, not going all the way out where the white line is. No, maybe the middle. Let's say the middle, which is half a cart length to the right, where you're staying slightly wider. You're then delaying the turn in. So we're still turning partially, but again, we're not getting close to the apex yet. Delay it, delay it, delay it. As you hit the apex, so we naturally have to come close to the corner. Otherwise, if we're too much distance all the way, you're losing time. You'll naturally come close to the apex. Once you hit the apex, then start heading out slightly wide to prepare for the next corner. That's the best thing. So what you don't want to do is continue to hug this, right? And then the next corner becomes too tight. Feel free to immediately head out to the middle, similar to what you're doing over here. You see how you're going a quarter away from the inside edge or 3/4 from the outside edge? Keep that the same.
Okay.
It's all experimentational again. So that's something you can try next time. Final corner. Now, the reason you want to turn earlier this time is use this curb just like you're doing over here, 2 wheels over. And then make sure you're not turning in too early, because this curb we can see in the distance is the first apex. And the first apex is not important for us, right? I know it may look like it's the shorter path, but getting to the shorter path will then compromise the angle for the final corner. If you look at how tight it becomes now, just by focusing on getting to the first apex, the angle for the second apex is a lot tighter. And be mindful of the steering wheel, how much lock you're putting in. Remember, we want to keep that as neutral as possible and only turn sharply as you're doing like that for initial rotation. So I don't mind you turning sharp for a brief moment, but then we initiate our rotation, get it back to the middle as soon as possible.
Okay.
So the way we can overcome that is continue to take an early turn, right this curb over here. Think about how can I stay on the left-hand side? Keep steering left. So you're going to end up more on this side of the track. Wider we can take this entry, the shallower apex we can take over here. So we don't necessarily have to go as close as you're doing to the white line. We can even keep half a cart's length, yeah? And you can end up being somewhere here where the pink circle is. Remember, we're trying to prioritize the second apex, keeping as much speed as possible. And I believe when it comes to the lifting or braking for this corner. Let's just watch your foot on the bottom right. One more time. So it's basically a lift on feeling. I think it's just over here you're lifting, right?
Possibly.
Or just after, how just by looking at the lap, what would you say?
No, I can't recall.
Generally. Okay.
No.
No worries. I'm just making an interpretation of what I can see, because what's happening here, look, you're laying the power back down. So there's a brief moment you were lifting. Keep the lifting early. I still advise that. And then wider the entry you can make over here. Ignore this part. So ignore this apex.
Mm-hmm.
But prioritize the best exit you can get over here. And actually, you can notice there's some black marks. So maybe use a bit of the curb. And think about mid to late apex. So middle would be over here. Late would be about here. Mid to late apex. So you can take the smoothest exit possible.
Mm-hmm.
What we don't do is go too early and then overshoot and then have to turn like that. Yeah.
Right.
And that's a couple of things which you can hopefully implement. I just want to recap one more time for this sector. Keep your entry the same. Keep the lifting and turning point the same for the first right. As you get comfortable, I'm going to hit that apex. We get closer to it. Let's start feeding some power. Does it have to be 100% throttle? Just get back onto it, maintain some speed. I would still encourage using all of the track, actually. Get closer to the outside curb, because now you're going to be adding speed. You need to have that room to fall into. Don't restrict yourself by taking a tight angle. So I would even say get as close to the white line or the rumble as possible over here, just because you'll have more speed. Then it's on feeling. Can I take this next corner flat out, or do I have to lift? If you feel you have to lift, try and do it early again. I would say just as this rumble strip is ending, try and lift there. So it's comfortably before the corner. I'd be lifting about here. Again, before we get to the second apex, for the right-hander, lay the power back down. Be on the gas as early as possible. No need to cut all the way across to the left immediately. Keep it in the middle. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it in the middle for this left-hander, so we can take a slightly later turn in. Later turn in will mean we take a later apex, so either mid or late. As you get to the apex, then focus on heading slightly back out wide to prepare for the final two corners. The final two corners are very important because it's about getting the best possible exit speed out of the final corner. How can we do that? Try and make this almost a straight line. However, so we get onto the curb over here, maybe start lifting again. Open up the angle of the corner, so stay slightly wider. Don't turn in too early. Avoid the first right. That's not important. But then flick the cart from the outside where my yellow line is, and you're targeting a mid to late apex for the final corner. When you can flick the cart, we can then initiate some oversteer. We don't have to be turning so excessively as well.
Mm-hmm.
We can be a bit more aggressive. Just be mindful that you've got to find the limit of grip and of oversteer as well. Don't be counter steering too much. That'll give you the best possible exit, hopefully. Any other questions based on this analysis?
Perfect. No, for that sequence of corners, that makes perfect sense. The only question is if you have noticed anything, like one particular thing that I'm doing very wrong in the rest of the lap.
Honestly, it looks like a very clean lap, right?
Okay.
And the main thing for you to focus on right now is the part where, as a driver, you feel, there's a bit of time missing. Because what you'll find is track to track, corner to corner, you'll be like, I'm strong there, but here I can improve. I'm losing a bit of time. From what I saw, the initial part of the lap is fine. There's a quick thing on that. What is it? The fast right before this sequence we covered, we discussed a new line where, it does shake, the cart judders, which is acceptable. But we said take a wider line. manipulate the cart with your body weight and the grip.
Mhm.
That's something you could really try. And generally, this is something taking forward, be a bit more aggressive with the leaning and with the oversteer, because try to always be at the limit of grip where the steering wheel, after the initial sharp input, immediately gets back to the middle, if not a bit of counter steer.
Mhm.
Avoid smooth rotations for long periods, similar to what you do on a road car, for example, because in rental cars, the more we initiate rotation and the longer we keep it, the more the tires are scrubbing and you're losing time like that.
Got it.
So it's quicker to have a sharp turn in, get a bit of a slide, but more importantly, we're back on the power as soon as possible. Always remember, when you lift, try and be on the gas as well before the apex of the corner.
Before the apex.
Before
Okay.
the apex, yeah.
I'm usually
remember
trying
how-
to keep it on the apex, so I try
Yeah,
earlier.
and you can compare that to trail braking. Like trail braking, we're on the gas at the apex.
Mhm.
But with threshold braking, we're on the gas before the apex, right? So
Oh, I see. Okay,
with lifting, it's be on the gas before the apex, not at the apex.
got it.
That was
Perfect.
some really good footage, and I appreciate you submitting. What
And
we're
those
gonna
some
do?
really good feedback. Thank you very much, Omar.
No, I'm excited to see you implement that hopefully next time. When are you going to the track next?
For that particular one, I think in about 3 or 4 weeks.
Okay, so you got some time. I know you shared a clip of some indoor footage, and hopefully, if we get a chance, then we can, review that
Yeah.
towards the end of today's session. But I'll keep you posted about that.
Sure. So the indoor one, I'm going every week for.
Yeah, that's
1
the
month.
regular one. Yeah, we do need to cover that at some stage, though.
All right. Thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Andre. And we're just going to go over to the YouTube live chat. So we got a couple of people tuning in. We got Via. What's up, Via? We got Formula Kart, Ollie Karting, Cube. What's up, everyone? We got Baxter Rollings as well. So what's up, Baxter? How have you been? Interesting backstory with Baxter. We met at Daytona Tamworth last year. He actually recommended I join one of the Super Champs rounds. So this is a monthly tournament they have at an outdoor track in UK. And I believe it was, round 7? So did some practice sessions the day before that race. And I was actually in the same category as Baxter. And we had a very nice battle. A couple of videos on YouTube, you'll see Baxter. He's wearing the black and yellow suit. And that day was very beautiful. I remember the footage was outstanding. Clear blue skies. We had a very nice battle for the podium in that race itself. So I hope that we can get back on track again. We got Saptash. What's up, Saptash? And we got Cash as well in the chat. That's awesome. All right. What we're going to do is go to the next one. Jeremy, you were saying something?
Oh yeah, can I just say something?
Go for it.
So basically, I found there's this new track I've been going to, and
Yeah.
so however, like your fastest lap depends on which kart you get. So, for example, you have to set in a 4-stroke car. If you get 40 seconds, you get to drive a 2-stroke,
Okay.
and it's like the Daytona one, but it's got an actual like proper like professional chassis.
Wow.
And yeah, and then if you get a certain lap time on that, I don't know, then you get to drive a senior Rotax, I think.
Really? That's amazing.
And I've
yeah.
Carry on. What were you gonna say?
No. What were you saying?
Oh yeah, so I've qualified for this 4-stroke. I've done 47
Amazing.
seconds. So I've driven the 2-stroke, and the difference is crazy. The speed and the power.
What were the main differences from 4-stroke to 2-stroke that you felt?
As when I hit the pedal, it took a while for the engine to start actually properly going. But when it started, the speed, the acceleration was crazy.
that must be a Rotax engine you're using then. Is it the same engine as they use in the D-Max Daytona karts? You reckon?
I'm not sure. Maybe.
Yeah, those are the junior Rotax engines. And what they'll do is they'll restrict them slightly just so there's longevity. You see, with two-stroke engines, you've got to rebuild them every, well, it depends on the hours, but Rotax, you can get a good 40, 50 hours. There's some other engines like Ayami, you've got to rebuild those after 10 hours. It depends, but probably the one you drove was a restricted Junior Max engine. And the power delivery is different to a rental car. So initially, it'll take time to ramp up, and then suddenly you get that spike. So did you feel you had to control the kart when it, peaks out on power?
Yeah, it was very different. And
Yeah.
when I broke, I couldn't just small tap. I had to brake for a long time, then turn.
That's it. The braking will then convert more to a trail braking technique because you got more power in these karts. When you have more power in the karts, you can gain time under braking. So the guy who brakes actually later and deeper into the corner will win time. And then you got that extra power compared to a rental kart, so you can get out the corner quickly. So your braking technique will change. Was it in the dry or the wet?
It was in the dry.
Is in the dry. Okay. What's the name of the track?
So I'm actually not in England right now.
Okay. Where did you travel to?
I'm actually in Shanghai right now.
Shanghai. Wow. How's the weather there these days?
Very, very hot. I have to go at night when I go karting, otherwise.
No. How many degrees you reckon?
What, in the morning?
Yeah, in the daytime.
It's like 36, 37.
Whoa, no, you're gonna feel it, especially coming from UK.
I stopped in Doha, and it was at night.
You
and
did?
the heat was,
Yeah.
it was still incredible. I don't know how you kart in that. Amazing.
How many hours were you in Doha for?
Oh, I had to stop over, so maybe like half an hour. But I got outside. And wow,
Okay.
the heat is incredible.
Yeah. Well, are you gonna be passing through on the way back? Is it a longer
but
stopover you
not
got?
for long.
Not for long. Okay, I was gonna say if you had a chance, send me a message. I'll collect you from the airport. We'll go to the track. It's a very small place. From the airport to the track, which is outside of the city, half an hour max.
Wow.
So, and I'd love you to try racing in these conditions. It is so humid these days. You probably felt it, right? Coming off the plane. It's just like a sauna. It's literally a real
Even
life.
at night, it was crazy.
At night, it stays at 40 degrees. You won't believe. So in the day, that's where we're getting 50, 55 degrees these days.
Wow.
So a lot of AC is needed. And especially when we do karting, it's always after sunset. So 6 till 11 is when the track is open in the evening. And the season for karting in Doha is September to May. So June, July, August is just public karting, basically. You can do some training as well in the evenings, but championships and things won't start until next month or September, basically. Let me know, Jeremy. Yeah, if you got time, let's link up. You can just send me a message on school, hopefully. And if you're able to get some footage from this track whilst you travel or whichever tracks, just be sure to share it. You can ask the tracks. Have you got some camera I can use to record? That's always a good way to.
Yeah, I'm going. I think tomorrow again, and I'm actually gonna try because you have to pay a fee if you crash the cart. So
how much is the fee? How much is it?
So you have to pay a deposit of £300.
Really? Okay. Well,
so
that's understandable. Yeah, it's understandable because the moment you have a crash, then it's unpredictable what the damage is, and then the spare parts are just so expensive on these two-stroke karts. But yeah, let me know how it goes. Hopefully.
Yep.
All right, what we're going to do, let's move on to the next bit of footage. And it was meant to be from Tassos, but Tassos has not turned up. I don't think he's made it to the session. So we'll save that for next time, or if he joins at the end. Let's go ahead to Tavi then. Tavi, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Excellent. So Tavi, talk me through firstly the pronunciation of this track. How do you pronounce the name?
You're gonna struggle with it. It's called Kuningamäe.
Uninkama. Kuningama.
Yeah, that's right.
Amazing.
It's actually pretty good pronunciation.
Kuningama. By the spelling, which you might be able to see, it sounds about right. Yeah, it's pretty much as the spelling is. And this is your local track, I guess. Yeah.
Not exactly. We have like 9 different karting tracks here in Estonia, and they're quite close by. So no local tracks for me.
Okay, you're lucky then to have a range of options.
Yeah, we have different tracks here. Yeah.
And are they all outdoors?
Yeah, mostly. Yeah, one is out. One is indoors actually. Yeah.
One is indoor. Awesome. You told me you're preparing for an endurance race. Is that something you do quite regularly?
We do it once in a year. So I've been doing it for 2 years now, and
Wow.
this year actually next week is gonna be the 3rd one. Yeah.
That is awesome. How have you found your experience over the years?
It's been quite a ride, I would say. But I started just going out on the track just for fun, and then I saw that the track times were pretty good, and I decided to start training and take it more seriously. So this year I've participated already in the competitions more actively and doing training as well. So I just came back from the competition today as well. So
Awesome. How did you go today?
it's from the 7th place to the 5th. So
Not bad.
quite okay, comparing
Yeah.
that the others have done it for 4 years.
Oh, there's going to be more experience, guys. Absolutely. And what was the format? Qualifying, race 1, race 2, or?
Yeah, we have 2 qualifying sessions and then the race. Yeah.
How many laps in the race?
This time it was 20 laps, but it's like pretty small track, so it took like 10 minutes or so.
Oh, okay. Different layout to what we're watching.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. Is this the layout then for 12 hours, which is
Yes.
Coming up? Awesome.
Yes.
And when is the 12-hour race?
Next week, next Saturday. Yeah.
Oh, all the best for that. That's excellent. I mean, how many drivers on your team?
7.
Cool. Have you established a strategy in terms of stints yet?
Yeah, mostly yes, but it depends on the weather as well. So it's probably
Really?
going to rain, so we need to change the strategy according
Is
to
it?
that.
Okay, I mean, it looks beautiful, the footage you submitted.
Yeah, but it's not always like that in Estonia. So
Does it normally, are you expecting it to rain? Well, is it unpredictable, or is it normally in the night? And how does that work?
it's mostly unpredictable there. Yeah, we a few days ago just went there, and after like 15 minutes it rained again, then it dried up, and then it rained again. So it's pretty unpredictable when it rains there.
Yeah. And that's to the challenge of outdoor endurance races, because depending on the driver who's on track during that time, some can gain and some can lose a lot. I think when it comes to the rain, just number one, keep it on the track, which means you just gotta be easy with the car. No overdriving, no excessive speed as well. And then the wet line is generally the opposite of the dry line. So use the outside part of the track at all times. Maybe some of the curbs if you can. And when it comes to
in this section you can use the curbs as well.
Yeah, definitely. This looks like a part where you can really gain some time. And under braking, which a lot of these corners, you have to try to pump the brake. Pumping the brake progressively is a technique which can help you gain a lot of traction in the braking zones in a wet track. Remember, you got slick tires, so that's something to look into. And then leaning. I always emphasize leaning, but it's never more important than on a wet track. because your weight can obviously dictate where the grip is on the kart. So leaning out can really help in controlling the car in the wet. Who's this driver in front? We're watching for a couple of minutes, and
Yeah, it's
you're
my
having a nice
training.
battle, actually. A training partner?
It's my training partner. Yeah.
Are you on similar pace, you'd say?
Yeah. Mostly,
To-
yeah.
To be fair, his lines are quite similar, and what's happened in this clip is you've started at, 5-6 kart lengths behind, and within a few laps you've been able to catch up. Who had a faster kart, you think, or were they equal?
I think they were equal at this session. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's going to be a random kart draw for the race next week as well.
Yes, exactly.
How's the performance kart to kart at your track?
Yeah, it's crazy. It depends. Some of the karts are crazy fast and the others are slow. So yeah, it depends a lot.
Gotcha. Overall, looking at the your driving, because that's the first thing to really analyze, is you've got a nice foundation. You know, I see that you're pushing the kart in some of the corners, you're not holding back. In terms of your line as well, it looks pretty much spot on. Key things we look for is, how much of the track are you using, certain curbs as well, which you might want to touch. I mean, on this track, how sensitive are the curbs? You try and ride them, avoid them?
I'm trying to avoid them. In this corner, when you exit the corner, you can see the curb here on the right side, yeah?
Yeah, this one over here now.
Over here, yeah? This one is really slippery, so if you get your tires on it, you will feel the slide. So it's not very good idea to go over the line here.
Gotcha. And I'm just reviewing actually your comments that you've put, because you listed it very nicely. Speaking about the first corner, you feel that the kart slides quite a bit. Is that because you're trying to? It's a flat out turn one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think flat out is the line to take. You see, kart to kart, it will depend. Have you experienced like a really slow kart and then the really fast kart on this track?
Yeah, I have.
What have you felt is the difference on feeling? Is it the slow kart is more stable?
Yeah, it is actually. It feels more stable, and but yeah, overall you just keep losing the time because the kart on the straight is not going as fast as it could.
Exactly. I mean, just looking at this first corner, it's a typical high-speed corner, which you can really manipulate with your body weight. Are you leaning in this corner?
Actually, I am, and I've tried to do it more aggressively. But when I do it more aggressively, I feel that I'm missing the apex there or missing the line. Because I don't know, it's too much like room for me to like. There's too much space on the seat there, so I feel like a little bit off there.
Yeah. No, and the feeling is the most important thing when it comes to karting in general. Is you need to be quite comfortable in the kart, and it's just about finding the limit as well. Sometimes you don't have to lean so excessively, but I'd still encourage it, especially to reduce things like sliding, because what's happening when you slide is first corner, your foot is pinned to the throttle, so now you're pushing the limit of grip, and the moment we start leaning, we can try to load the outside tires, especially with a bit more grip, can help in being a bit more stable. Some other things you can try, I mean, in terms of the line as well, have you tried taking a really wide line, maybe 2 wheels over this paint over here? I guess it's not a curb, right?
Yeah, I have tried it, but in that case, all of the meters that are going in there, I'm losing time there.
You're losing time. Yeah.
When I go over the line. Yeah.
That sounds about right. Sometimes it's just best to stay within certain range, and it's good you've experimented that. Beyond that, in terms of the tires themselves, you can't really do anything about it in the sense that you'll be given a kart and then you just have to drive it. So For some corners, it depends on how much you're sliding. That's how I should, or I normally gauge. When you say slide, is it completely like a drift or a counter steer? What are you facing when you slide?
It's like it should be stable, but I feel like in some places it's a little slide that I think slows me down a bit.
Okay. Turn 1 you mentioned. Then there's. Is there another corner that you feel you're losing time through sliding more particularly?
Yes, if you go. Yes, the next corner is gonna be the one here. So here with braking, I think I've experimented with different things here. So when I brake later, I feel that when I turn in, the cart starts jumping up.
Mm-hmm.
And when I brake earlier, I feel that I've lost the momentum and the revs are too low, and then it's harder to get the speed up again.
Gotcha. This is a very interesting corner. I mean, just looking at this lap as well, you got the drive in front, hard on the brakes. That's nice. I'm going to look at what I want to do across this session is look at all the different examples through the hairpin. And then we'll hopefully give you some pointers on how you can improve the technique. So what we're looking for over here is, number 1, listen to the sound of the engine. I'm going to keep the share screen window like this, and then I'll bring on my pen. Once you listen to the sound, look at the pedals and look at exactly where you're braking, when you release your foot off the brakes, and when you actually feed the gas. So let's take this as lap 1. You've hit the brakes just after the curb on the right side. You're holding the brakes to about midway into the corner. You can see now you've released your foot. And then at the apex, you're on the gas. So I'd say that's a relatively early brake, you'd say, on this occasion?
Relatively, yeah.
Yeah. Later would be, let's say, halfway down the curve or beyond that. Let's see what you do on following laps. Did I miss something there? No, I didn't. Okay. Lap 2. One more time. Yep, about the same place again. On the brakes hard. You're releasing just before the corner. And this time, slightly earlier, you can see you're back on the gas. That's interesting. Let's watch the next lap. Approaching at high speed. Yeah. Great example over here. So what we're looking for whenever we brake, number 1, it helps rotate the cart, right? The brakes are located at the rear. The more we press the brakes, the more the rear end is going to move, gives us rotation. But also, the objective with braking is to slow the cart down enough to make it to the apex of the corner, right? You can see the driver in front, he's closed the distance. On this lap, for example, we're leaving a bit of gap to the apex, yeah? Usually, when you leave a gap to the apex, it means you're carrying a bit too much speed as well. You got to think about braking a bit more. And this can be a trend, from track to track, is sometimes, it feels like you're braking hard, you're doing everything right, but gauging your timing through how close and how well you did the corner as well. How close are we getting to the apex? That's also something I want to look for. In terms of the braking point, this is now the 4th lap. Perfect. I think you've established quite an early braking point. Turning in and then feeding down the gas. A lot closer to the apex on this time. I think this was a nice effort. One more lap over here. Let's keep watching. Boom, same braking point. and you're back on the gas. Cool. What we've seen is about 5 or 6 examples of your braking, and I like how it's quite consistent. Is this more on feeling that you brake here, or you're actually looking at the curb on the right side and then?
I do have a reference point. Do you see this yellow flag over there on the right side?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I tried to brake over there.
I was going to say, because it's quite consistent every lap. I'd say you're quite hard on the brakes. Now, the way you can see how much you're actually braking in terms of brake pressure is the steering wheel. And what we want to try to initiate is some kind of counter steer. So as I was discussing with Andre earlier, think about how can I get the rear end of the cart to move. When I say rear end of the cart to move, you even experience a mini slide, right? And when it starts sliding, that's when you feel counter steer and the need to do some corrections. You're quite smooth on turning, so you're braking hard, you're turning in, and you're holding steering angle, right? One thing that you can try, I don't know if you've experimented this before, is getting the cart to step out a little more, where you'll start initiating some oversteer. Have you experimented that on some attempts that this happened? A really hard brake where you start counter steering?
Yeah, I've experimented with it, but it seems like there's enough grip to keep the tires on the track, and if I try to go over the line, it starts sliding too much. So there's actually the line between the slide and the best grip is quite slim.
Exactly, and it's good that you're trying to experiment again on this lap. Bit hard on the brakes, bit of a correction mid corner, but then you're basically back on the gas. One thing which could help, I'm also using the driver in front to gauge, is actually when we apply the accelerator now. So what you want to do is try to be on the gas a bit earlier. So this time we're braking nice and early. Yeah, back on the gas that time. Cool. Let's watch another example. What I feel is if you're able to brake harder and slow the go-kart down quicker for turn 3, let's keep watching the bottom part of the screen. Put in full screen. Keep watching your right foot. So currently we're on the brakes. We're off the brakes now. You're tapping the accelerator and now you're full. Yep, you saw that?
Mm-hmm.
One more time. So approaching the braking point. Brake. Left foot. Stabs down. Keep watching the left foot. You're off the brakes. Yep, completely off the brakes over there. Now watch the right foot. You're progressively, there's a period on this lap in isolation, for example, where you're coasting and then you're putting the gas back down. Notice where we're actually putting the gas back down in relation to the corner.
Mm-hmm.
It's at the apex, yeah?
Yeah.
One more example. Let's try and go to another lap. So we got here, early on the brakes. Tapping the accelerator, and now you're back on the gas. Let's take a look in relation to the apex. At the apex, we're feeding the power back down. And you're pretty much going 100%. Is that how it is when you get out on track?
Yeah, that's right.
Going 100%. Okay. One more time. I want to see another example. No, this time we'll go back a couple of laps, to be fair. Let's check on this lap, for example. Braking hard. Keep watching your right foot over here. So you've come off the brakes, you're coasting. And now you're 100% on the gas. So I would say, let's try and push the limits now. Even if it means we have to slow the go-kart down a little earlier, maybe just before the yellow line, you start braking. get your braking done as soon as possible. I would still encourage a hard brake and try and get some oversteer in the car. Again, as you said, find the limit of sliding where we're not going too much where it loses our revs, but we're being aggressive. Moment we can start rotating the cart quickly and we can get the cart rotated to our apex, it's about now. So you see, as we're coming closer to the apex, we should be start feeding the power.
Mm-hmm.
Try and get onto the accel or the gas pedal a lot sooner than you're currently doing. So that doesn't mean you have to be 100% at this stage. Let's feed the power 20%, 30%, 40%, 50%. And by the time we get to the apex, like you're doing now we should be 100%. We should be accelerating out the corner. See, the way you can gain time in rental carts is who can be on the gas pedal sooner. So it's not a matter of, braking even late into the corner and then carrying a smooth line to the apex and then getting onto the gas. No, it's about getting your braking done as quickly as possible, using the brakes to manipulate the rotation. Harder we press the brakes, the more the cart will drift a little. And what you can do is once we start being a bit more aggressive with the brakes, control that slide, yes, with your steering, but then also with the throttle. So as the cart, if you press the brakes hard enough over here on entry, there'll be some movement. Come off the brakes slowly, start feeding the power as soon as possible. Again, early before the corner. And generally, the earlier you can be on the gas, the better exit speed you can get. Have you experimented that before? Have you tried being early on the gas?
No, not exactly. Not that I'm aware of. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's very interesting to watch footage back, and especially in slow motion, to see exactly what kind of style. Everyone's driving cars, and that is the most important. Develop your own style. You add. Then, when you get stuck, let's say you're struggling with turn 3, some drivers. Do you feel drivers are pulling away at turn 3? I mean, on guy in red, you're quite even, but let's say other drivers,
Yeah.
are they pulling away?
With the top drivers, I see that they are pulling away, especially when they are braking. They are braking later rather than sooner. So this is something that I've been trying to work on, to brake later as well.
Yeah. Their carts, does it look like the rear end is flicking out? There's almost some movement on it. What did you notice when you were following them?
Yeah.
Are they quite aggressive with their braking? Yeah.
They're totally aggressive. Yeah.
That's it. So that's what we want to achieve. And with them is they probably perfected their braking technique, which is a hard brake. And now they're able to just delay. However, the moment they flick the cart under braking and you get that mini slide, then you want to be on the gas as soon as possible. So just think of that next time you go practice. I'm going to continue braking as I am. Let me try and be on the gas sooner. Now, the consequence to that is the earlier we're on the gas, the more the cart is going to drift, right? Because mid-corner, you're on the limit of grip. So just be wary that you're controlling that oversteer, not counter-steering too much. Try and keep the steering wheel as neutral as possible. But be on the gas well before the apex, feeding the power up. And see how aggressive you can get. That's just the bottom line. Because what I feel is your driving is very smooth. You got some very good racing lines. Now it's adding that aggression factor in, and the top drivers you'll see will be pushing those limits, and they're comfortable with that. And that's how it is in rentals, where it'll give you. It doesn't seem like it, but it will give you that 10th or 2/10. What we'll do, we'll go over to the next couple of points you put, because you put turn 5, turn 6. You're sliding too much, right?
That's the same section here that you're looking at.
Basically, we're going through it, right?
Yeah.
4 and 5. Can hear it from the footage. This is also.
So this one is basically this one is flat out. So if you go further, then the next section here is
Okay.
where I struggle, I think.
Yeah. And it's a double apex hairpin as well, which is very interesting.
Yeah, and with those hard tires, it's really hard to like hit
Yeah.
all of the apexes there because it's sliding like hell there.
Yeah. And then that will affect your revs, and
Exactly.
as you said, you'll slow down quite a lot. I like the line that the driver in front is taking as well. And yeah, you know what I want to do is actually get a track map up so we can see an overhead shot of this. Can I just copy and paste this on Google Maps?
Yeah, I think you could.
Should
Yeah, the same one.
is this it?
Yes. You
Oh
can...
wow, yeah, that's it. Oh yeah, I remember you put a track map as well. This is probably where you got it from. So basically, we're tackling this sequence, right?
Exactly, yeah.
And it's interesting. It's a very unique double hairpin because the actual distance between the apex of this hairpin and then the first apex of the second hairpin is so short. It's this, brief straight. So what we're going to do is think of it as, how can I be fast over here? Now, you mentioned there's already a breaking point on entry, right? A brief breaking point.
Yep.
And then is it just feeding the power slowly all the way to the apex?
I'm just trying to get to the right spot at the apex, yeah, and then I push the gas pedal.
Okay. And then it's flat though for the second part as well, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Keep that up. Whenever it comes to a double hairpin, always think of getting your braking done for the first part, so then we can maximize the exit speed and keep the speed as high as possible for the second part. Because what happens is when you brake over here, you're slowing the cart down anyway, and then all this time on the yellow line, we're still building revs back up. So you can afford to take that much speed. In terms of the line itself, just by looking at this, I would encourage a slightly wider entry with a slightly early brake. And the idea with a wider entry, an early brake, slow the go-kart down quickly, and we can focus on a slightly later apex, so mid to late. And what you'll notice, one more time, if I can get this right, there we go. Boom. You'll notice that we can avoid an early apex, even mid. You can somewhat avoid, but try and hit a relatively late apex. The way you want to think about it is, the later I can turn into this corner, the first hairpin, later I turn, the easier it is to then be on the left-hand side of the track. You see where I am over here? Be on the left-hand side of the track on corner entry for the next hairpin. And because it's a right-hander, trying to have the widest entry possible so you can flick the cart to the right, keep your foot pinned to the floor, and carry that speed out the corner. What is it that you're struggling with? Is it the sliding through the corners you were saying?
Yeah, I think it's sliding in the corners and actually trying to get the nose of the cart to the first apex, to the late apex that you marked as a blue one there. So with the steering, I think that I have to compromise a little too much in that corner.
Gotcha. Let's watch another lap over here. It's another example. You can see how the corner becomes very tight towards the end. So it winds to the left and it goes to the right. That's awesome. Let's watch another example. Yep. So you can see this time, slightly wider on entry. There's a black marking. This is the mid to late apex we're talking about, where people are generally touching. This isn't great. I mean, I'm going to go to earlier laps, or maybe even after the lap where you pass the drive in front. So you have some clean air. See how you did it over here. Let's see how you did it on this lap. Let it load. Okay, perfect. So in this lap, for example, you're entering it from the middle. Yeah.
Mhm.
Height entry. Yep, you're just struggling to make it to the apex over there. I can see what you mean by the sliding and you're losing the revs because I can hear it from my side. The entry for the second one is fine, and then you're flicking it to the right. You know what I feel is? The only thing you can try and change is the first part of this hairpin, because the second part looks absolutely spot on. We're going to watch a couple of examples from beginning of this footage where you're catching your teammate in front. That's nice. Second part is nice. Cool. What we want to do, and I don't know if you've experimented this before, is taking a wider entry. Have you tried that before?
I have tried, but it didn't feel natural to me. So I've stick to the middle part. And I've talked with the professional drivers as well. They say that with the rental carts, they see that the middle part is the best way to go.
Absolutely. And it's that thing about saving meters, because what you don't want to do is go unnecessarily to the outside and then come to the inside. The reason I'm saying to just widen it up slightly, though, is going back to, maximizing our exit out this corner. What will happen sometimes is the moment you try and take a corner too tight, whether it's from the middle or slightly from the left, you're going to have to end up turning excessively, braking excessively as well, just because give it one sec, just because the angle of the corner is tighter. Yeah, tighter the corner, the more we have to brake, the more we have to turn. I would try two things next time you're at the track. So when we say wide entry, I'm not saying go all the way to the white line, but try and think of half a cart slightly wider. What about the braking, though? Is that on feeling? Is there a reference over here? How's it done?
This is mostly on feeling, and it's just a slight tap on the brakes.
That's it, yeah. What I encourage you to do then, the earlier you can brake, the sooner we can get back onto the gas. Think about slowing the cart down enough early in the corner so we can then feed the gas comfortably before the apex again. So similar to turn 3, we said, your braking is fine, but try and be on the gas sooner. Same thing over here. Brake earlier, just on feeling. Progressively get back on the gas and control the slide more than anything. I mean, how is the slide here? Is it from braking, or is it from the corner being too tight? How you put the gas down?
Mostly on braking, because with the slight tap, I want to get to rotate the cart, and it starts rotating. But I think that I'm rotating it too early, so then I don't. Then I miss the apex because of that.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's a classic one. As you said, rotating too early. So what we can do is think about delaying that. Then go for a slightly later turn in. Remember, I was telling you on the track map, try and go for a later apex. So on this part of the corner, late apex is always achieved by later turning. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to brake later, because in rental carts, we said we want to try and be on the gas before the apex of the corner. But if it helps, think about delaying that turn in. And in your mind, you should be thinking, I'm going to skip this. I don't want to touch this part. I don't want to touch this part of the curb. And it's only as the corner sort of ends, and you can probably notice that there's this dark rubbered patch, right? Rubbered line. You want to follow that, and that naturally comes towards the end of the corner, which is basically where your teammate is over there. So later turning, and yeah, the tire marks are a great reference over here. So it's a clean curb. There's no tire marks, no tire marks. It's clean, and it's just mid to late part of the corner. You see all the tire marks, and it's actually the darkest patch is late in the corner. Yeah, late turning. Late turning. If the kart is sliding too much, that means either you're too aggressive on the brakes, just be a bit smoother, and try to control the slide. See, sometimes, especially in this sequence of corners where it's a fast left into an immediate right, typical corners where you have to lean as well. Are you leaning your body?
Slightly, yeah.
Start exaggerating the leaning, especially on this right, and then exaggerate it even more for the fast left. So what you want to do over here, we had a nice clip of your teammate actually doing it. Yeah, you'll see your teammate in front. So he's leaning out slightly for the first part, and then watch his body shift. Look at that, beautiful freeze frame. He's really leaning out over there. So by leaning out, loading these outside tires with grip, keeping your foot pinned to the floor, and getting good rotation, because you can see becomes quite tight for the second part. But the second part is flat out, right? You're able to take it flat out.
Yeah.
So just for the first part, think of a later turn in, control the slide, leaning out can help that, putting more grip on the outside tires. And then keeping the kart as late in the corner as possible. Later we can apex. The easier it is now to stay on the left-hand side of the track, right? What we don't want to do, and I didn't see you do this anyway, but don't be on this part of the track yet. What I want to do, have the widest entry, like your teammate has, similar to how you have, to then lean out excessively, load the outside tires with grip, and have a smoother angle and run through there. And keep up the second part as you're doing. So we got a final point, basically. You mentioned in corner 10, I'm too aggressive and I need to use slow and fast out because there's a long straight. Okay. So turn 10 is also a hairpin.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
If we look
a lot
at
of hairpins there. Yeah.
That's awesome. Especially when it's a hairpin oriented track. It's a lot more fun because you can really experiment with braking and finding the limit of things like that. What I want to do is watch from the beginning again one more time. See a couple of clips that you're doing. Who had the? I assume you had the faster lap time in this session, right?
In this session, yeah.
How much faster were you?
It was about 0.2, I think.
0.2 only. Okay, all right. You caught him quickly. That's why I was surprised.
Yeah, I think he was experimenting as well. So in the end, the best times were quite even.
This last corner, it's not too different to the hairpin at turn 3. And the best thing about having an overhead shot is you can see the actual radius of the corners. You can probably say turn 3 is a bit tighter than the last corner. How does that feel in real life? Do they feel the same? Is it tighter?
Yeah, it feels the same, yeah.
Pretty much the same, cool. So we just want to apply the same technique. Whether it's early braking, I assume you're using the yellow flag again for a reference.
Yeah.
And again, just on this lap in isolation, for example, you're braking early. If we watch your foot on the bottom, you come off the brakes now, watch your foot on the gas. Now we're 100% on the gas. And it's nice because this time you're slightly early on the gas pedal. Still, I'd say it's a bit too late in relation to the apex. We'll watch another lap. Coming up, where are we? Yeah. Let's keep watching on the bottom left. Let's see where you brake. Boom. At the yellow flag, as we said, holding that brake pressure, releasing the brakes now. Watch your foot on the right side. Nice. You're back on the power. Look at how early that was. Now what I want to look at is your steering wheel, right? And I want to look at how much you're turning and if you're initiating any counter steer. So what's happening is you're braking, you're smoothly turning to the left, you're holding some steering angle, and then just at the exit, you're able to neutralize again. Let's watch another lap. Skip to about here. Let's watch this lap. Braking at the same point. Watch your steering wheel. Smoothly rotating it to the left. Feeding the power closer to the apex this time. Yeah. So whenever it comes to a final corner like this, think about, as you put in the comments, slow in, fast out. I like how you're braking nice and early, but the rule should be the same again. Get our braking done before the corner so we can be on the gas before the apex. See my yellow line now?
Mm-hmm.
That's all before the apex of the corner. Try and be on the gas as soon as possible. Whether you're progressively feeding the power, that's really up to you to control. But ideally, by the time you get here at the apex, we need to be 100%. So stage it. After you're braking, 30%, 40%, 60%, 80%, 100%. Yeah, you can see how we're slowly feeding the power. During that time where you put the gas from here, 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 the cart will become more unstable, which will mean you'll have to counter steer a little. So if we look at the way you're turning, what will happen is you'll convert from a smooth steering technique, you have a nice turn in over here, to then mid-corner, the steering wheel goes back to the middle, or it goes to the right-hand side, the counter steer a bit more gas you apply. And that's what we want to try and achieve, that bit of rotation. Again, being aggressive, finding the limit of grip, not sliding too much, but still being on the gas as soon as possible. Think of turn 3 and the final corner as pretty much identical turns. And for you, the line is perfect. I even think the braking point is perfect. It's just about being on the gas pedal sooner, and you can sort it out.
Okay, but when I start accelerating, before, then I think when I exit the corner, then the line gets a little bit too wide, so I have to compromise after that. So should I bring my turn-in point like to later point, or how should I do that?
So you experiment based on your driving style again. The way I do it is I like to turn in earlier, right, than normal. And what I get is that slide nice and early. Moment you start sliding, get the rear to rotate. The moment the rear starts to rotate, so you're not going to go early into the corner. You see, with a slide, it'll take you out a little bit more, right? It's about finding the sweet spot. The earlier you can slide the cart, the more chances are you'll be in a perfect position to then take an apex for the corner.
Gotcha.
However, some people, they say, well, sliding isn't my style. I'm not used to that. Then you revert back to the late turn-in, as we mentioned for, what was it, turn 4 and 5? Or turn 5 and 6?
5 and 6, yeah.
Yeah, for 5 and 6, where a later turn-in will guarantee a later apex. And remember, with a later apex, you're able to accelerate sooner anyway. That's just the nature of it. So think about deeper I can go into the corner, keep looking ahead, great way to visualize this is the barrier in front. I'm going to straight line into the barrier in front. I'm going to straight line in front, and as the curb ends, immediately sharp late turn, get the rotation done, get on the gas as soon as possible. So it's about here, you'll be on the gas, and then you're feeding the power all the way to the apex point, like that. Yeah. So 2 ways to do it. Either slide the kart early and then control the slide and, be on the gas throughout, or go deep into the corner, sharp late turn, get on the gas as soon as possible. Those 2 ways generally, one will stick for you.
Gotcha.
So just to recap then, I have to say it's really positive to see your driving, because you got a very good level. I mean, compared to the top guys, how many tenths is it?
It's half a second I'm down.
Half a second, yeah.
Yeah, so it's quite a lot.
You see, half a second will be found in turn 3. Well, you can even say turn 1, turn 3, 5 and 6, and maybe the last corner. But you add that all together, you will be able to slowly chip away. I would attack it corner by corner now. Don't try and overwhelm yourself next time you go practice and try and implement everything in one go. But there are similarities. Like you can say, I'm going to try pretty much the same cornering technique for turn 3's hairpin and turn 10's hairpin. Whether that's going deep into the corner, but ultimately sharp late turn, get on the gas as soon as possible. In the next session you do, then focus purely on the entry of turn 5, again going for a later turn in, and manipulating the kart and the weight transfer with your body. Lean more. That's something I highly encourage, especially through 5 and 6 at your track. Those look like classic corners where I'm sure the top guys are gaining just because of leaning.
Okay. Thank you. Amazing stuff.
No, keep me posted how it goes, because I'm looking forward to seeing how you get on. Are you going to practice before the next endurance?
Actually not, because it's the competition will be on Saturday, so we're already competing on Saturday, so no time to practice anymore.
Gotcha. Well, all the best. Let me know how it goes, and I'm sure you guys can smash this one. How many teams?
16 teams.
16 teams, yeah. And what are you targeting? Top 5 finish?
Like in 2022 we were first. Last year we were third, and so this year we're trying to be the first team to get through the line as well.
Super. No, then the expectations are high. Yeah,
of course.
Podium minimum, and so you must have good drivers as well on your team.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, I think you guys can devise a nice strategy, and more importantly, enjoy your stints that you have. It might be limited because it's only 7 drivers. That's quite a lot. I think you'll get 2 stints, if I'm not mistaken. Is it 2 1-hour stints?
It's a hour and a half. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So whenever you're out on track, just don't overdrive. Try and stay as consistent as possible, especially in endurance race at different times. People drop off, and the moment other teams start to drop off, whether it's becoming sloppy in their driving or they got an inexperienced driver on track, over the course of that stint, you can gain seconds on different drivers. Now, of course, the strategy will, for generally for all teams, will be to prioritize the faster drivers. So yeah, they'll lose some time when slower drivers go on track, but towards the end, I'm sure the faster guys will catch up. But if you guys can each do your best effort out there, and try and stay out of trouble. I mean, it's not multi-class, so you don't really have to lap people. I mean, how is the experience with traffic during the race? Is there a lot of overtaking or?
A lot of overtaking, yeah.
There is, okay.
Yeah.
People get lapped every lap?
Like the levels of the drivers are so, or the levels of the teams are so uneven. So there are like four top teams, and the other 12 are not like participating in the top game. So they are basically doing their company events there. So
Yeah, it's that kind of corporate level. So it's
yeah.
Guys who are just there for fun, really. Wow. No, then definitely when you're out on track, stay consistent, but be very decisive with your overtaking moves. And that's, I think, where the race can really be won or lost is, can you pass traffic successfully and efficiently? Moment somebody holds you back 2, 3, 4 corners, it adds up quite a lot in 12 hours especially. And I mean, do you have a lot of practice in these public karting sessions, against amateur drivers and things like that, or less experienced drivers?
Well, I have, yeah.
Yeah, because that's a great way to keep up your reaction time and skills, and plan what people are going to do. Are there blue flags in the race?
There should be, but there's too many overtakings over there, so no blue flags being used there consistently.
Exactly, yeah. So it's just on driver awareness. They got to know you're faster.
Exactly.
I mean, if somebody is blocking you, or you're going to pass them, can give them a bump on the straights. Then they know you're there. Do people let you through? Like they'll say, "I'll come through," or
some drivers too, but some drivers are too cocky to do that sometimes.
That's the problem. Some of those guys, you just got to pass with strategic overtakes. Sometimes you just got to be a bit more aggressive as well, lean on them, and a bump here and there won't help. You're the faster driver at the end of the day, and that's how you got to think of it. Is ultimately, I am going to get past this guy because I've caught up to lap him, but whether it's going to be in this corner or in 5 corners time, got to make sure it's an efficient pass. Enjoy the race, Tavi. Let us know how it goes. I'm looking forward to hearing your feedback, hopefully, in one of the next sessions.
Amazing stuff. Thank you, Omar. I'll keep you posted on the community. That's cool.
Absolutely. Looking forward. Take care.
Yeah, cheers.
All right. That was an awesome analysis with Tavi. Anyone got anything to add whilst we just take a quick break?
So the track I was talking about?
Yes.
I actually found it and I've posted it in the...
You have? That's awesome. That's awesome.
It's very late. Like, yeah.
How are you... how long are you staying there for?
Just 2 weeks.
You're going to be there next week, yeah?
Yeah.
Awesome. I've just opened your link. I believe it's still processing. So this is the footage of you driving, or?
Oh no, this is just a random clip. I think it's the same car or a similar car I drove.
Gotcha. Yeah. It's just processing the video. What we'll probably end up doing, let's save this one for next week, and I'll take time to review it so we can go over a proper analysis. Yeah. Because
I'll ask if there's a camera.
Yeah, absolutely. No, what it is, we're coming up to 2 hours already in this current session, and we got to go on to the next driver. We got Hassan, actually. So we're going to get started with Hassan and hopefully wrap up after that. Thank you for waiting, Hassan.
Yeah, no problem. No worries.
I'm just reviewing the chat before we start. We got Yanni. You drove with my teammate Orion in Kortrijk. Wow. He is a top driver. If you check out some of the indoor endurance race videos on the KTips channel, you'll see my experience with the Kartskins team, and top team, top drivers. Orion is one of the fastest drivers in Belgium. So it was, a learning experience just being with him, but great insight. And, he's done very well on the SWS stage as well. I believe he got 2nd place in one of the finals. So, he's definitely progressing well. And I reckon it's got to do with the Kartskins, because soon you guys will see some more experiments, which is of this very unique made karting suit, especially on outdoor tracks. There's a lot less wind resistance. On indoor tracks, the top drivers did an experiment. They were getting not only more top speed on the straights by a couple of kilometers an hour, but they were getting about a 10th a lap advantage. And you really, the skin suit will come into its own in an endurance race. So we did a 24-hour race earlier this year. And if you add a 10th a lap across 24 hours, yeah, that's going to make a difference. So it's going to be fascinating to try it not only on outdoor rental karting, but then outdoor owner karting. Because owner karting, there's more speed, there'll be more drag and air resistance. That'll be amazing to check out. So stay tuned for those series of videos, which should be releasing soon. And my experience with the kart skin was, I enjoyed the fit. It's something you got to get comfortable with, because at the end of the day, it's going to wrap around your body. So it's going to encourage you to go and train and have a nice physique. Otherwise, it'll expose your physique. But no, if you could stay in shape and be disciplined, not only will the design look really nice on you, but you'll get that benefit of the aero, I guess. So we're going to move on to Hassan.
Yep.
Hassan, you got some awesome footage, actually.
Yeah, it's a lot, so you don't have to look at it all. But the
No worries. Let's
latest
open up.
video, it was the final lap. That's where I got my best lap time ever.
Let's open up the. So there's two clips: 35-minute one, and then there's a 45-minute one. So
Yep.
which one should we open?
I think the 45-minute one.
Sure.
It is a little bit newer.
All right. So this was from last week Sunday. I was driving there in my karting club. The last lap was fastest ever. So PB you got.
Yeah.
Amazing. And it's at 43:07. Cool. Let's just share the screen. Just going back to the chat, yeah, the kart skin suit will look funny, but you know what? If it makes you faster, it makes you faster. It's your choice. Cool. 43.
I think if you do like a full screen,
07.
you can see a little bit more.
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
What's happening on my full screen is the cursor is not. Yeah, it doesn't appear. It's very annoying. So let me just skip to 43.
07.
You're saying you do these races?
Yeah, well, so basically, I'm a member of a club.
Yeah.
Of a karting club, which is called BKK.
Okay.
And we basically it's monthly practice sessions, and then once every month we have like a Grand Prix, but this is not one of those. This is just practice. So here we actually practiced starts. So we did like rolling starts, because that's what we do in the Grand Prix, and then we just had 3 laps to do whatever we want.
So this is a 3 laps basically.
Yeah.
45 minutes of open track, which is really good because you can just focus on your lines, experimenting different things, and this is now becoming very familiar because we watched somebody else's footage. I remember on this track.
I remember it as well.
And it's such a big indoor track. I mean, wow, I'm impressed. 1 minute 16 for your lap. I mean, generally, what's the fastest over here?
The fastest ever is a 112.9.
112.9. That's still
Which
really
is insanely crazy. In my opinion. I have no idea how you achieve that.
I'm sure different track conditions will factor into it, and also the type of kart and things like that. The driver will of course be very good, but those things will factor in. I'm just trying to see where the lap is starting.
So if you just go, if you just pause it, I don't know if you remember, but there's like a end finish line, and then there's a start finish.
Oh yeah. So
basically, if you just go a few seconds back. Right there. Can you see the finish line?
That's it over here, right?
So here it finishes. It's also here where we practice rolling starts. So, and then this is turn 1, and then here comes turn 2.
Cool.
And then we just go down to the hairpin, I would say.
Yep. But this doesn't count, right, for your lap time?
It doesn't. So, and then it starts at the end.
Oh wow! So somewhere here? Is
Yeah,
there
somewhere
timing
here. I
there?
don't know why there isn't a line, but
Yeah, yeah.
there's also like some lights, so you can do like a standing start.
Awesome. This is the fastest lap. I'm gonna watch this. This is turn 1, technically, of the fastest lap. And a couple of things I'm observing is, yep, the line you're taking, also the sound of the engine.
Yeah.
Able to keep that quite high. I feel you're not excessively sliding through any corners as well, keeping the car pretty stable. I like your steering technique. You have your hands in pretty much a fixed position.
Yeah.
Minimal inputs, which is very, very impressive. And if you notice, you're turning hard on corner entry, and then you'll try and bring it back to the middle, which is just what you want to be doing. Are you leaning in any corners?
If you can just pause it for a sec.
Yep.
So I went over there with some of my friends, and the seat did not work, so I was kind of forced to be leaning. And I actually realized that you can really, it's way more than I actually thought. You can really get the car to get into that neutral steer.
With the lean, yeah?
Yeah, exactly. Way more than I thought. So I think from now on I will make, because how the car is, if you can see the drive in front, they have like this on their back, they have this
seatbelt thing, right? Or I mean, is it anti-roll? I don't know.
Yeah, anti-roll basically.
Yeah.
There's some straps, and normally I really,
tighten it.
Yeah, tighten it, exactly. But I think if I just make it a little bit more loose, then I can really, lean and get into that neutral steer.
How much do you weigh?
Right now with everything, it's 87.
Perfect. The heavier you are, the easier it is to manipulate that weight transfer.
Yeah.
And I always encourage heavier drivers that it's not a disadvantage having more weight. It can help you with cornering. So keep that up. Let's just admit Guy Williams very quickly. What's up, Guy? Welcome. Can you hear us?
Yo, can you hear me? I'm back.
Yeah, it's always nice to have Guy Williams on. How have you been?
I've been good, mate. Long day at Team Sport today. We had a session where we didn't get a single green light because 7 minutes of the session was spent brake checking the kids. So basic stuff like always.
Gotcha. Guy, I'm just with Hassan reviewing his footage. Let's chat after this,
yes,
all right?
Yeah.
Good to have you, though.
Good to have you too.
So basically in this session you were trying the leaning, right?
No, not in this one.
Oh, not in this one. Okay, one which you didn't have footage of.
Yeah,
I guess.
Exactly.
Cool. Yeah, definitely going to be a game changer. And if you're driving like this at the moment, then I think going forward that can be a tool to help you be smoother with your rotation and be as neutral steer as possible.
Yeah.
That's what we want to try and achieve. Overall, this lap, it's interesting because do you think slipstream helps at this indoor track? Is that a thing?
Personally, I think my lines should be better before the slipstream is gonna be better, because personally there's some places where I could get a better line. For example, if we kind of take the track and put it into parts, into sector 1, 2, and 3.
Do you have the map? Or...
Yeah, actually, if you just search up race hall map Copenhagen, it should come up.
Yeah, got it.
Do you also have the turn numbers, or?
Just one sec. This is not HD. Hold on. That wall. Let's stop and then share entire screen. You can let me know which layout we're using.
So
it'll be this
Copenhagen, yeah, that one basically.
Gotcha. So Race Hall is like a franchise.
Yeah, if you could say
of karting tracks.
Yeah.
Wow, this is just
it's really technical. Like you need to get every single corner to be perfect to get a good lap time.
Yeah. And this is the unique End of
Yeah.
lap.
Yeah, mål,
And,
mål in Danish basically means finish, and then start
Okay.
is basically start.
Start.
The start.
Perfect. What are you struggling with? I mean, we
So-
saw the 116 lap, but
Yeah, so basically, my lap times fluctuate a lot. I feel
Okay.
like because some sessions I get like a 117.2 as my best, some
Mhm.
116.5, and actually my best lap time before that was 116.5, so it's a half a tenth faster. So I feel like it fluctuates a lot.
Definitely. Is that, do you think kart related, or was that in the same kart?
No, it changes. So
Mhm.
it could be the card, but I'm not quite sure because I don't
Yeah.
really feel a difference.
Yeah, kart will definitely influence, especially on a track like this. I mean, have you driven a very slow kart and then one of the meta karts, the faster karts before? Have you got the opportunity?
If you get, I mean, I don't really feel slow, but my lap times are slow, if you could say it that way. So
Okay.
actually, the other video, I was there alone without my club, and then my trainer was actually there, and then she gave me a good card, and then my lap
Okay.
times were really good because he
Right.
was there. So
Yeah. Really, if the kart will make some difference, but then what you should focus on is having a range, a set range of how far your timing should be. So yeah, when it starts to be 16.5 to 17.2, it's about 7/10. So try and keep a range at least between 0.5. That should be always a start. And then if you're really good and really consistent, 0.3 is a great one to do. And then you reduce that range, the better you get, to 0.2, 0.1. Some of the top drivers, especially when they keep the same car, they'll be like half a tenth or 1/10 between each lap. It's amazing. But that comes through doing lots of laps at the track, getting into a flow state. That's what we call it in karting.
Yeah.
Just driving every lap as similar as possible. You're not having to think about, I have to turn here, I have to brake here. It's just instinctive. You're driving more on instinct, basically. But I think we can break this lap down into sectors, or track down into sectors.
So I would so the first sector I would probably
Tell me when to stop.
yeah,
I'll
okay.
put in different colors. So pink is sector 1.
So I will just a little bit more. After this turn, I'll probably say stop right here.
Yeah. Okay. Sector 1.
So
And then we
actually
got,
now you can just switch colors.
Yep. Let's do it in yellow.
And then sector 2 would be through the S's.
Nice.
And then
Wow, that's like a triple hairpin. Whoa.
yeah, but you take them flat out or almost flat out. So
Awesome.
and then right here, yeah. So it's weird to divide it like this, but it's easier for me.
Yeah.
Oh, and the rest is just sector 3.
Awesome. We'll put it in blue. Yeah, you can see the evolution. What do you see as similar through all the sectors?
So what is that supposed to mean?
What's a trend? What's similar between the corners in all the sectors?
It's all U-turns, if you can say it like that.
All happens. All happens.
All happens.
Which corners? Let's take sector 1 for example. Which corners are you braking at?
So basically, if you look at turn 1, in the video, there's basically a bump going out. I don't know if you can see it in the video. That is my braking point, and then the bump kind of goes inwards, and then there's about my turning point. But
awesome.
Personally, if we go back to turn 1, because that's some of the challenges I've been having, is basically that I'm very inconsistent. I feel like I'm very consistent.
And I want to bring up some visual footage because that's as important in these tracks. Number 1 is track width. Then you look out for reference points. What do you feel the inconsistent in the braking?
Yeah, I guess you could say it like that, because when I get over to my braking point, I brake.
Yeah.
And I turn the cart, and sometimes I'm extremely close to the barriers, so I'm so it's optimal, like right here.
Yeah.
passes
You're
that,
very
and
close.
sometimes I'm about a half a card whipped and away from the apex. So
Okay. So is the entry always this wide? You're able to establish this entry?
yeah, I can
Like
get,
that's not a problem, right?
no, that's no problem.
You can tell yourself. So I think it's about the turn. So for example, if you look in relation to the actual apex, it's a sharp early turn, you could say. Yeah.
Yeah.
What you're doing is trying to rotate the cart. I didn't really see much of a break, I'll be honest. You
Yeah,
look at your left foot. Yeah, there, boom. So it's a
It's-
progressive break. You're just holding the brakes actually, and then you're turning. Interesting. Okay. Getting rotation. And then you're able this lap, look at how close you're able to
yeah,
get to the
I'm
apex. That's
pretty
nice.
close. But if you look at some of the others, I would
Yep.
be like about half of
What we
how we-
can do, you'd be leaving a gap basically.
yeah, basically, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It is a lot on feeling. Have you ever used any of these visual references? You know, these
That's actually a good point. I should
blanks on the
probably
left
do
side.
that now that I think about it.
Yeah, because
It's
a couple of things there, right? Like there's a door, and then okay, the door's not clear, but then these
The
brown
pillars.
pillars. Yeah, that's it. Just looking at your foot again, boom, and it's just alongside that brown pillar.
Yeah.
What do you notice in relation to the corner, though? How early we're braking, right? It's
Excuse me. Yeah,
yeah.
I understand. Yeah.
You're going quite early. Are you trying to go slow in, fast out over here?
Yeah, if you could say it like that, but also I feel like in turn one, I come with a lot of speed, and I think that I get a little bit scared. So I make the braking a little bit longer. For example, I was
Yes.
over there today, so I tried to make a quicker brake and
Yes.
get the rear end loose and rotate faster, and that actually worked quite well.
Perfect. I was just going to come to that because that's the next step in your evolution of this track. Try and be on the brakes for a shorter period, but the more brake pressure you put, it's still going to slow down as fast. So it slows down quickly, and as you said, you get the added bonus of rotation. I don't mind this initial sharp rotation, as we've been discussing with pretty much everyone today in their footage, is initiate sharp rotation and then get the cart to slide a little.
Yeah.
Remember, we don't want to slide excessively, but the way you know you're sliding optimally, in optimal way, is basically before the apex. So at this point, your steering wheel will start to counter steer. It'll go back to the middle, if not a few degrees of counter steer. That just can be achieved by being on the brakes for hard on the brakes, and maybe for a short period. What you want to combine that with, that mini slide, is being on the gas before the apex of the corner. Try and keep that momentum high. The moment we start feeding the power too late, this is good actually. You know, you're on the gas before the apex.
Yeah.
Think about next time braking a bit harder and being on the gas a bit sooner. But I like this. This is awesome. I want to continue the slow-mo because we can see it frame by frame. Coming up to another hairpin turn. What's the deal with braking or lifting? How is
So
it?
here it's a gentle tap. Just to, if you could say, get the rear end loose. And here, when I first started going here, I did a pretty early turn in, but it actually killed all of my exit speed. So here I'm actually doing a little bit later turn in.
I noticed that. A lift, right? Or a brake?
It depends really on the speed, but mostly it's either a tiny tap on the brakes or just a lift.
Yeah. This is really good. I believe you did a lift over here. But watch your steering wheel. It's a tight, hairpin corner, you can say. A mini sharp turn in, right?
Yeah.
And now as you feed the power, watch your right foot. As you put more power down, look at your steering wheel.
Yeah.
It goes back to a neutral position. And you actually, let's watch it in fast motion. Sharp turn, feed the power, slightly neutral steer. Look at that. You're keeping it as less steering angle as possible. And the corner, I mean, look, this is very tight. So you achieve neutral steer really well over there.
Yeah.
apexing at both corners. I think the line you're taking there is excellent because widest possible entry, flick it to the left, and then take the shortest path now. Not bad. I don't see much to really improve over there. Keep that the same.
So
Flat out
this
section.
next corner
Yeah.
is
Well, look at this.
it's another hairpin, if you could call it that. And here I basically try to get as wide as possible and just a gentle tap on the brakes.
Early, right? Again,
Yeah.
early in the corner you're braking.
And then
Getting
rotate.
some movement. And look at this. Love this. Look how soon you went on the gas pedal. One more time. Watch your brakes. So the left foot now. Brake. Release. Back on the gas. One thing I want you to notice though, right? And this is common with all drivers. Even I'm a suspect of this. You know when you're on the gas pedal and you're turning for a corner, sometimes you feel you can put the power down. Yep, the kart is gripping. And then suddenly you release. And then you realize, no, it's fine. I've got enough speed. I can now go back on the gas. So it's basically a double
I
input,
get it.
right? 2 times. And it's something so small, like you wouldn't even notice it. But what that is ultimately is a correction. So you put your foot down, then you doubted yourself. Oh no, maybe this is too much speed. I'll come off the gas. Oh no, I'm good now. Let me put the gas back down.
Yeah.
What we want to try and do is have it in one motion. So brake and then gas.
Okay.
So it shouldn't be brake, gas, lift, gas. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you probably don't even do that all the time over here. It's just because of how early you turned. What happens, the earlier you turn, the easier it feels that, oh, I'm going to hit the curb or the apex too early. So let me correct. Let me lift off the gas. Let me open up the steering a bit more and then get back on. Or sometimes you lift off the gas because you're on the limit of grip.
Yeah.
And you don't want to slide. Just be confident. See, in that moment, what you can do is think about, how can I lean my body and manipulate my body weight to give the car grip? If you ever feel like you're on the limit of grip, but it's not going to completely slide, just lean more.
Okay.
That will give you that safety net. The car is not going to come out of control.
And also, the track is also made from a special rubber, so it has 20% more grip than like a normal road. So that's why my steering is minimal.
I was just going to say that on this kind of track, it's more difficult to slide and get that slip angle as we were discussing, because the kart is just the tires are just going to grip. You're having the opposite issue to what Tavi was facing. He's sliding too much, and here you got too much grip. So
also, I have also experienced in this corner and others where the rear end has too much grip and you kind of bounce. So my trainer the other day, the other video, he actually just said to me that instead of going completely wide, just go wide but leave like a half a meter of space between the barriers.
Okay.
Not in that corner, but the previous one.
Oh, the previous, the one you just took, right? This one.
Yeah, that one.
Ah, okay. Because you didn't shake much on this lap. Like this was quite. I mean, unless it's the stabilization of your GoPro. Is this a GoPro you're using?
Yeah, it is a Hero 7.
Awesome. You know what? Hero 7. 7. It must have. I think it has wide view, right?
Yeah, it has.
Or it doesn't have the super wide. I don't know.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, it has a pretty wide camera, and that's what camera angle, and that's what I used.
Yeah. Guy, go for it.
So I had to butt in as the indoor expert.
I was waiting for your input.
I'm trying to figure out the branded cart here. That's my main thing, and I'm also trying to figure out the tires we're using, because. Go on.
Yeah, if you actually go into their website,
it says, help me, give me a second. It's kart. It's Race Hall, isn't it?
Yeah, Race Hall. and it actually just says what the car.
Okay, give me 1 second then. Because at first I was like, that's a biz car. And then secondly, I was like, wait a second. No, it's not. Come on, here we go. Wait. They're dyno. No, they're Remo. Okay, they're Remo carts. Okay, so
just like Jacob was.
Okay, so
a few weeks back.
I've never driven a Remo, but from what I know about these barrier types, this is something I want to really focus on.
Yeah.
Because they had these at the track you did the 24-hour event on as well, didn't they?
Trick, yeah, that's it. Exactly like this.
And I also travelled all the way to Germany to try out Team Sport Germany, which also has these cars, these barriers. I'll get on to that in a second. What I will say with these are, and my friend over here will probably already know this, you make a mistake and you stick to these barriers.
Yeah.
They are like, because you know, when we went to Edmonton, Mitcham, the tracks we raced at, the barriers are very forgiving there, aren't they? They have tyres behind them. They're very forgiving. But what I do know, though, is, and you'll probably know this as well, Omar, is sometimes you can use that very bottom lip of it for grip.
Oh, that's it.
Right there, yeah. He knows what I'm on about. If
you know, you know.
If you know, you know. And I'm also noticing, a lot like Edmonton, you don't need to use all the track on entry on some of these corners.
Yeah.
But that was good. And because the barriers are just solid plastic, it can either have two effects. It can either kind of rotate the car though it was a bit of slide, or if it's one of the grippy ones, it can actually grip up those front tyres. Can I ask, at any point in this track, are you using your brakes for rotation, or is it a bit too grippy for that?
Yeah. Mostly I just use brakes to rotate the card. That's basically what I mostly use.
Right. Because what I'm noticing here is, especially with these cars, do you see how they've got the headrests on them?
Yeah.
Are you noticing when you're braking rotation, it's kind of lurching? It's not as smooth as it normally would be with a Sodi kart, by any chance?
I haven't really. I don't think I've driven a Sodi kart before.
Okay. So to put it simply, do you see those big headrests on the back of them?
Yeah.
Omar might know this, but you're my pointer for now, Omar. Okay.
Go for it. I'm loving this.
So what I noticed is when I actually drove a Biz electric cart with the headrests in Germany with the exact same type barriers with a slightly grippier, more plasticky floor.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you braked for any sort of rotation, that back end either doesn't do anything or does far too much because of the extra weight of the big seat and the headrest.
Mm-hmm. More weight at the back.
It just screws you over.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to think is maybe this is a track where smooth is fast on all tracks.
Yeah. But
smooth turning and driving might be the way to go.
Exactly. I would love to know we're missing Jacob over here. We'll ping him in the comments after, because Jacob is from Poland and he's an expert in these Remo karts. And I believe we were reviewing a coaching session he did in Poland at the same type of track with same karts. And he was explaining how a heavier driver was, I think, suffering with sliding and things like that.
Yeah, they look.
Smooth was fast, as you said.
The steering mechanism is what I'm really interested in.
Mm.
You see those red sections?
Yeah.
For some strange reason, to me, it looks like they're independent of each wheel. No.
Which red section? Oh, these.
There, that.
Yeah. This.
I'm thinking this, but this is what really threw me off. Is it has the same steering wheel as a biz kart, like the exact same type of steering wheel.
Yeah, that's it.
I was like, wait a second. but then also one of those things is these are like Honda GX200s, I believe, the engines as well. But do you see what's happening? Do you see how it looks much more complicated than the usual kart down there?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to do some research into these go-karts because that's what I do. I'm a weirdo like that. But what I'm noticing is it has a very fronty point end. See how the back end even there is kicking out a little bit?
One more time.
Yeah.
Yep.
He just goes, and then neutral steer, which is brilliant.
Yeah.
That's why I'm convinced that braking from rotation might be a bit degrading on this track if you are doing it at any point.
Yeah, and especially when you have the added grip.
Yeah.
What you'll find when you brake, when you brake for rotation on a very grippy track, it'll shake a lot. It'll
There
get
you
the
go.
header in.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Bouncing, that
Yeah.
ruins your speed and
Yeah.
kills all your momentum.
I think overall, this sector, just going back to the track.
Yeah, sorry,
analysis-
you do your
No
Sorry,
worries.
sorry to
Before-
interrupt, buddy.
No,
No problem.
appreciate
Actually,
that. It's
because actually
great
in turn one,
discussion.
I when I brake, I oftentimes like nine times out of 10, I actually get a lot of oversteer.
There you
Mm.
go.
So a lot of oversteer actually. So I really have to correct it.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've noticed is correcting oversteer with a biz cart is so easy, especially
Yeah.
with those F1 style steering wheels. But with these, I hate these steering. I have a passionate hate towards these steering wheels. I love my F1 style steering wheels. With this right here, it pisses me off. So, because the steering's also a lot heavier on these carts, isn't it? I find that than the F1 style steering
yeah.
wheels.
Oh,
on these
absolutely.
carts.
Your hands get sore, actually.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, you remember Edmonton?
Yeah,
We were
exactly.
dying after that
Yeah,
track. We went to
that was
Mitcham, it
crazy.
was fine.
Those, they're easier to handle than the new model.
Yeah.
ones.
So,
I think these lines you're taking are great, and as Guy mentioned, it's just all about getting the accuracy.
like
hit the
that
lip.
there is brilliant.
Yeah.
Really, really nice. And you find it gives you grip, right? Some of
Yeah.
these apex points, if it were.
See,
Even
like
there on
there,
the right
right
side,
over it again,
beautiful.
which allows them to rotate around to the right.
This is really good.
Just
Right on the
whack
limit.
straight over to the right, use up all the track on that tie entry. Brilliant.
The deceiving part of this is you got the bump on the outside.
I hate that.
and
But
then
Yeah.
get that off the go kart,
Right.
throw it away. What
Exactly.
weight reduction?
Exactly.
um,
But go back. My friend, you're a good foot and a half away from the apex. Let's try and minimize those millimeters, my dude.
but you know what that
So-
is? That's the hard brake and oversteer. So watch, he turns in, right?
And he also turns in too early, doesn't he? I think.
He could, but I think when he puts the gas back down, he gets a big.
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right. Actually.
exactly.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
And as
just
we discussed
whack.
in these carts, being aggressive causes a lot more of this oversteer.
There you go.
And that tiny bit costs you that much. Now, from experience, I know at this kind of track, that much is huge. like
is.
somebody
Yeah.
will be on your bumper.
Yeah,
if they're
like-
behind you.
like literally quite literally yesterday I was actually fighting to get my new PB at Acton.
Okay.
I did, by the way. I managed to get it by another
Yeah.
0.010, so like
Wow, wow.
100th, yeah. Right, I
You're
tell you
really
one thing. I watched the footage back.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell a difference. That's how precise I've got the line there.
Wow.
But for here, as you're saying, even that little miss from the barrier was
Mhm.
also what it's done. Is it set him up where he's not perfect on entry here, even though he nailed that corner anyway.
yeah. Yeah, because what
It
happens
ruins
is
the next. The momentum loses, doesn't
yeah,
it?
the momentum loses the moment you go off the line.
Yeah,
The normal line is would go tighter.
over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it, but then he just end up slightly wider.
Yeah, and also he's
And it-
cascading over to the right. You can see where those other carts are, can't you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Tiny things. Just find. I noticed then the next hairpin is flat. You're keeping your foot pinned to
Yeah.
the floor.
Bro's
so-
foot is planted. he's like, nah, I ain't lifting off till I see got all the finish line.
So well,
Getting-
basically, so this corner, how how it feels is that the other corner you kind of had to force the rotation, but here I can just feel the rear end come loose, and
Yeah.
I get rotation. So
Beautiful. And I think it's because you have to brake over here, right? You got to brake
Yeah.
for this hairpin.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
most
a,
of it,
a
or lift.
classic a lift is a classic double hairpin where you either lift and sacrifice the time on entry, so then by the time you build the speed up for the next corner, we haven't got that much speed, so we can afford to take it flat, right?
Yeah,
Because from this moment to this moment, realistically, how much speed are you going to build up? Not that much, right?
yeah,
That's why it's not advised to brake again and lose more time, lose more reps for that
Yeah.
sequence. Really not much to
but
yeah.
instead of braking for rotation, so because I get all this oversteer, what should I do instead?
Smoother on the brakes, and you're finding the limit of hard braking. So what we're doing right now is braking hard to rotate. What you'll find is that the moment the kart rotates, you've hit it's what's called a biting point.
Okay.
So to be smoother, you're going to ramp up the brake pressure just before the biting point. The moment it hits the biting point, the rear tires lock up, and then you feel movement, and the rear end gets loose. So we're trying to be as sensitive as possible, which comes with just consistent repetitions and attempts at this, is slowly build up that brake pressure, and then be smoother with the braking.
Okay,
So at the moment we can like smash the brake pedal almost.
Yeah.
We want to do a more gradual ramp up in pressure now.
Okay, so instead of trying to get the rear end loose, just try to just rotate without getting the rear end loose.
It's a bit like trail braking where you're on the brakes a bit longer.
Yeah.
You know how in trail braking you go into the corner? That's the kind of style you might want to observe.
Because
Sorry.
Yeah.
Can I just check? Are we at Race Hall Copenhagen or are we Race Hall Aarhus?
in Copenhagen.
Okay, so I want to have a look at one of these corners in particular. So you know where the pits are, and then if you have the map to hand, Omar, if you have it, I have it as well.
Yeah,
Bottom left, that one.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking is this could be a really key. Was this got that kind of that longish straight? Is it that way? Or was it, okay? Yeah. I thought so.
Yeah.
So did you see it's got that long, fast right hander after it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking we treat that like this corner really caught my eye. It's really unique. Yeah, no, not this one. Yeah, that one there. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
But it's because I'm thinking a very, very late apex.
Yeah, you
then
really have
set
to
yourself up for the maximum for that long straight.
Yeah, you really have to. I've seen people getting even later apexes than me.
Yeah, because
this is it.
No,
I think no.
Because this is the end. So if you just go.
Sorry about this. It's just that,
this is a good point
that one corner caught my eye because I just have a feeling that that's where a lot of time could be lost there.
Well, you won't believe that's the no man's land section.
What do you mean no man's land section?
the lap, according as Hassan explained, starts here.
Okay.
And ends here. So this is no man's land. That doesn't count for anything. This.
Oh my God, so that's untimed.
Yeah. Yellow.
It's basically
yellow part is untimed.
It is here, so that you know when a session ends. Normally, you just drive another lap and then go to the pits. But I think it's made so that you can just directly go to the pits after a session.
Okay. So just to be clear, I am crying now. Like that hurts because if they made that to be actually on the like a time session, that could be such an interesting, impactful corner for the lap.
Yeah, I mean, let's see how it goes. This is it, basically. So he's technically finished this lap.
My God, put those hands on the steering wheel. A complex series of corners, my dude. Okay, yeah.
Beautiful.
And then open up for that second one. Okay, so it's not as tight as it looks on the map, actually.
Yeah.
No.
Because the reason why that one caught my eye is that it's not very similar to one that if you've ever watched my videos, the where you can come up the ramp at press and you go round to the left, and then that really tight 1-2. It's a really quick left and right. I thought it was something like that. And the reason why that caught my eye is there's a really interesting technique where you can take if it was a lot tighter than this, if you had to immediately turn right now.
Yeah.
But see, mate, you've just like kissed that man. That was beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah,
do it again. Just do it again. Do it again. Do it again.
Boom.
Please.
That's the limit.
Like, see that? I want that on every corner.
Wait, just give me 2 seconds. There was just
I think
huge moth inside of my room, so you have my attention now.
Sorry about this. It's just that if they ever made that, so that's part of the lap, I would highly recommend focusing on nailing that corner. That's gonna be really good for getting high speed out that onto that straight. I don't know if you agree with that or not, Omar.
Yeah,
absolutely. And what I really like is how he's able to just transition the steering angle to flick it straight away to the right.
There you go.
And kiss that one as well. Beautiful.
Bit of a change of hand position. It just works perfectly. So congratulations.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Final A couple of corners then, as we'll go back to the main
Yeah,
line.
sorry for interrupting.
No,
Someone
no, no.
talking
It actually
about
it helps a lot. So
Yeah, it's very useful to have those inputs. Are you struggling in the final sector, you'd say?
yeah, a lot. I feel like because I also sim race a lot. So normally these corners I don't really meet in sim racing, if you could say it like that. So I don't really know how I should handle them, if you could say it like.
Wow, this is
if
a
you understand.
very unique, unique sequence, because I don't think it's that clear on the track map, but it's quite a winding section. So you come out of here,
Yes, and then you take that
right
corner
to
straight.
left, straight, and then it's into a double hairpin again, final hairpin, and then you got like a chicane style over here. Let's take it corner by corner again. Get that up. So basically coming out of the hairpin here. So come out the hairpin. It's a wide entry, so this is flat out, I assume.
Yeah, it is.
Wow, look at that. That's awesome. You're on the limit of grip. This is what we're talking about. Keeping your foot pinned to the floor. Initiate some rotation initially, and then there's a bit of movement on the steering wheel, which means you're on the limit of grip.
Okay.
You can even use your body to lean there. Yeah. Let's see
So
how this corner sort of flows. Typical double hairpin corner. Yeah. That's excellent. How's the braking over here? Again, I'm
So-
feeling.
yeah, so yeah, I don't
Yeah.
really have a braking reference, but I try to brake late because
Okay.
my train you had to cheat this with a more early apex because so that you can maximize the speed. So I
Mhm.
don't go wide to the track, and then I just try to brake a little bit late because also I've experienced if I brake early, I kind of just lift while I wait to get through the. So it's kind of a late break.
You've tried lift versus brake over here. Well, what works?
No.
oh.
If I brake earlier, I'm just not on the gas pedal because I'm waiting to get through the corner.
Gotcha. See, typical double hairpin corner. I think you're doing the basics right, in the sense that we have to brake for the first part. So nice and braking, as you said, maybe even a bit later. Key thing is get on the gas before the apex of the corner. Try to take a later apex so we can end up more on the right-hand side of the track if we were looking at it from that angle. And because you're still building up speed, you can afford to take the next hairpin flat like that. Yeah.
Okay.
I really like your line, your apex as well through there. I really don't see any huge changes you can make apart from, I mean, the braking is fine, the turning. So you're braking and turning at the same time. Being progressive with the accelerator and back on the gas. That's maybe one thing where you can experiment. So now you're doing late brake in this corner. Why not try early brake and then be on the gas sooner?
Yeah.
That's all we want to try and target in rental cars. How soon can we get back onto the gas? This is good.
Gotta keep those revs high.
Yeah.
Gotta keep the revs high.
It's also here where I feel like my revs are at the lowest because I'm pretty sure in this video, the card kind of bumps, it jumps. So when it jumps, your revs are totally gone. It's your revs so low down.
You could also maybe try a wide entry. Have you tried that? Just making the corner slightly wider, or is this the limit you found?
I feel like because it's a track where you need to find your own lines. I feel like when you're wider, you don't really achieve much more, if you could say it like that.
Yeah, you're wasting meters by going wide.
Exactly.
Basically. Yeah. I think this is the sweet spot. As I said, maybe bring the braking a bit earlier, or just try to be on the gas a bit earlier. Apex looks decent, maybe a bit closer as well.
Okay.
Yeah. If we're picking on tiny things, be a bit closer to the apex. Second hairpin, I like how you keep it in the middle of the track, so you have some space to now set up the next turn. So you can flick the cart to the left as you're doing. As you flick it to the left, we're back neutral steer. This is amazing. One more time. Watch your steering wheel. sharp turn to the left. You can see how much steering angle we put. And then as you hit the limit of grip, you're keeping your foot pinned to the floor. You naturally neutralize your wheel to the middle. Another hairpin that we're coming up to. And this one you got to take a lot wider using, look at that, all of the track. We're
Yeah, you
literally
basically have to hit,
using the outside curve.
inwards the barriers, so you basically just follow the barrier.
Wow. And that's flat, yeah? This one?
Yeah, that's completely flat.
Amazing. Look at this. All the way from the outside. Trying to keep as smooth steering as possible. That's beautiful. And you've done it as good as you can do it. Keep this up, because what you want to do in a scenario where you can take it flat out is now maximize the corner entry. The wider we can make the angle of this corner, the more speed we can carry, and the less you're going to slide as well. It's a bit bumpy, you know, you got to take those bumps sometimes. Very good apex, very close. Using all the track on exit. Chicane now coming up. It's a right left. I don't know how this looks.
So this I've been having a lot of trouble because when I compare it to the other people, I really lose a lot of time.
Yeah.
This was made pretty good.
Absolutely. Guy, what do you think of this sequence? This is
Okay. I'm back. I fell asleep. We're back now.
What do you think of this, guy? We're wrapping up. Don't worry.
Okay.
Last couple of quarters.
So, right. Ooh, bumpy.
Yeah.
Okay. So, can I first say, very well done though.
Thank you.
like the line looks precise. The sequence looks challenging. You need to get this thing right.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's fast paced. Look at that. Close to the barrier, close to the both. Yeah. All I can say is, if the track's really, you can go really bump. Maybe go a bit close, because you want that scrubs off quite a lot of speed if you're bumping.
Yeah.
And it also makes the steering a lot less stable and smooth.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there anywhere, maybe slightly to the left or slightly to the right, where you can make it so there's not as much bumping? Do you have any idea? Maybe, I'm trying to think, because
I think
for me that looks perfect. But if we're really nitpicking, the bumping's going to go off speed.
If I turn in a bit earlier, I think it will be a little bit better.
And then that might work, as long as you still keep turning to the right to then open up the corner.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Omar?
If you see here, I'm turning quite aggressively. So I think if I just turn it a little bit earlier, where the steering is.
I think that you're saying turn earlier than this.
Yeah. Now that I see it, I don't really know how.
Okay.
Well. I think it's only necessary if that bumping is genuinely scrubbing off a lot of speed.
Okay.
Well, sometimes you just got to ride the bumps, because that's the track.
Yeah, but I could ride bumps all flipping day, but it's just if it's scrubbing off a tenth or even a little bit less, then we want to eliminate that. But for me, you're catching on the guy in front. I think it just looks okay.
Okay.
And you're right, because look at the gap. So let's say this is about a car.
Mate, honestly, they're not just bullshitting you. That's the best set of corners I've seen yet on this so far on this lap. You just close to barrier. It's smooth. It's just, the main thing is it's decisive. There's no, what am I doing here? It's just right, left, right, floor it, and that's really good.
Yeah, this is a corner where you can establish the flick technique.
Yeah, Scandinavian flick. We love to see it.
I'm Scandinavian, so
it makes sense. Absolutely. Does that actually originate from Scandinavia, or was it just people made up the word saying Scandinavian flick?
I've never heard of the Scandinavian flick.
I think it just sounds badass, Omar. I think that's just the reason why.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, look at me. I'm going to do a Scandinavian flick. It's essentially what you do when you need to cascade into Cameron Dash. You have to flick it to avoid him.
Exactly. Well, just going back to this, what I'm actually looking for is lifting points or braking points. So it's full gas through the first right, and boom, turn and lift. because it's not possible to take this flat out. Otherwise, you'll slide.
Yeah, obviously.
So I love how you lift and.
I also think I'm pretty sure. I don't know if you can see it.
What are you doing?
I'm braking also.
Yeah, I was going to ask. So that is a bit of a break you're doing, yeah?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Now we have a game changer. So the idea is your entry is pretty much spot on to not only take a sharp late turn, but a late apex. Boom, late apex over here. All we want to do going forward now is apply more leaning. And what the leaning will allow you to do is get rid of the brakes. So think about it. We're going flat over here. You're leaning to the left, right?
Yeah.
Can I ask if there's seatbelts in these cars?
Yeah, there is. And normally
Okay.
I tighten them a lot, but now I've discovered
With the leaning, yeah, don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Because what I will say is, if you lean, you fuck up. The seatbelt initiates. It's whiplash heaven. Like I've done that before. Not pleasant. Okay, so just please lean, but please be careful. Okay.
Yeah, you don't want to get the seatbelt jammed.
Thanks for listening to Guy's safety advice.
And and also normally I have the seat as towards the front as much as I can, if it makes sense.
Oh no, buddy, no.
You disagree?
You want it on the back axle, bro, for that speed.
Okay.
I don't know. That's
No, Omar, come on.
No, I don't know.
But no, all I'm saying is for outdoors, Omar is completely right. You want it on the front axle.
Okay.
The idea with having it at the front is you can get more oversteer, right? So more grip on the front tires.
You know what?
The rear is going to be.
You know what I think this calls for?
Yeah.
I think this calls for you to do 2 sessions.
Oh,
one with it on the back, one with it on the front, and just tell us how it goes, yeah?
There we go. New video idea. Seat at the front, seat at the back. Done. I'll do the outdoor experiment.
All I'm going to say is my seat was at the back when we 1v1'd.
Well, we know how that went. Well,
yeah, because I've tried putting it forward and backwards, but I feel when I put it completely forward, I feel like I'm more aggressive. If it makes sense.
That's it.
So it's easier to turn.
Honestly, it's so minimal the difference that it makes, in my opinion. Leaning is much more important. Just go with whatever you're comfortable with for me, yeah?
And it depends on the height of the driver.
I agree. There you go.
All the guys, you try and get them all the way forward. Their knees are just
and that's bad for throttle and brake control, of course.
Yeah.
I've experienced sometimes I've become a bit better, but where I'm braking, but my feet are actually a little bit on the throttle as well. But also, feature about this card is that when you brake, you basically your throttle you can't use it, so you really have to the throttle a lot before the engine activates, if it makes sense.
Yeah. So just quickly finishing off, because we're coming up to time now. What we want to do, keep the line the same, apply more leaning, and finally, as we rotate the car to the left over here, keep the lifting point the same, get rid of the brakes,
Okay.
and be more aggressive on the lean. So here you really want to lean out.
Okay.
Imagine flicking the cart to the left, sharp turn to the left as you lift off. Initiate some rotation. What you'll find is, as opposed to holding steering angle, as you're doing here, look, you're holding steering angle. That means you're actually under driving. You're on the limit. You're below the limit of grip. To be on the limit of grip or just above, you'll start neutralizing the steering wheel, neutral steer, maybe a bit of counter steer over here, and the lean will help you achieve that.
Okay.
Remove the braking, that's all.
Okay.
Apex point, beautiful. Final corner technically, absolutely fine. And that way, I reckon you can lower it from, what was it, 116, you were saying?
116.
116.0.
Yeah.
115s. I'm telling you, 115s by a couple of simple things, right? Get closer to the apex or the lip of that barrier.
Yeah.
In a couple of corners. Experiment, does harder braking work or does more progressive braking, being smooth, work?
Okay.
And lean more. I'm telling you, if you found that leaning was useful in that last session, you tried, which you did not record.
Yeah.
Going forward, it's going to help, 10 times.
Yeah.
You're developing a driving style now, and that's what you want to achieve as a driver. So that laps upon laps, you can get there.
Yeah, but you're giving me a lot of good things, both Omar and Guy. I'm sorry. But if you look at some of my other laps, I think they won't be as great. I don't know if we even can look at them or if it's
Which ones?
if you just look at any
just
other lap.
Yeah,
any
just
other lap.
generally.
I feel like when I look back at this footage, I feel like I don't even know how I had driven that lap.
Well, that's the benchmark. You want to analyze that to death.
Yeah. So when I'm analysing my footage, I take 3 laps realistically. I take my worst, I take my best,
You see that?
Yeah.
one approximately in the middle, and I have a notepad to my right now. I've written
That's
down everything
awesome.
I said today.
Yeah. There you go.
If I would recommend, even if you haven't written it down, try and remember some of the stuff we said, and then just consciously think about it when you're looking at these awful laps, as you say, or good laps, as you say, like just consciously, and then think to yourself, okay, and then because it's such a long track, the way I mastered Warrington before I got banned horrifically, that's a kilometre long as well. Is I took it 3 corners at a time.
Wow.
3
There
at
you
the
go.
maximum, 3 or 4 maximum, yeah?
So wait, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
Sorry, yeah, so with the long tracks, I'd recommend working on 3 or 4 corners at the same time.
Yeah.
And just nailing those down, and then you think, okay, I've done 15 laps, I've really got these guys down, let's move on to a few more.
Yeah.
And then, but try and string them together. So don't just say, okay, I've nailed these ones, but I've not done the last 4. Make sure, okay, I've done these 6 corners correct, now let's do 3 more.
Yeah.
Okay, now I've done these 9 corners correct, and it is a slow process.
Yeah.
Especially with long tracks where lots of places correct. Like Omar, me and Omar, we raced at Acton, which only has 4 corners in total, yeah?
Yeah.
4 corners.
Omar was on my race pace within seconds because it was only 4 corners. It was like 20 corners here or something,
Yeah.
Work on them a little bit at a time and build up and just practice as much as you can, yeah?
Yeah. I think that's some really, really solid advice. And as Guy ended off with, practice as much as you can. It's only through laps that you're going to develop that consistency. You're at a stage where you know the basics, you know what the racing line is, you know what the braking points are, and now to improve further on that, you just got to drive. It sounds very simple, but really nice move. It sounds simple, but you just got to get experience. That's how you can eventually get to the flow state that Tim Senna talks about in his documentary. You can YouTube the clip.
Like for instance, I'm not tooting my own horns here. I mean, I know Omar's raced for 10 years. I've raced for 10 years. I can go to Acton and I just, or any track I'm used to, and I just switch off and I just do lap after, and they may not be perfect, but they're very close to being perfect.
Yeah.
Because it's just about finding that rhythm and finding that smoothness,
Yeah. And then you're not overthinking then. Remember, best example is when a baby learns to walk, they have to think about every step.
Yeah.
Adults, you just walk. Yeah.
If you don't mind looking in the chat, I actually have a really good example. So I posted a 48-second YouTube video, especially for this thing. Omar, would you mind? I want to show you this. So
we're going to end off with that. Let's conclude with.
This is relevant as well, by the way. This is relevant.
Hassan, any final questions before we move on?
Wait, give me just 2 seconds. I will just get my notepad.
No problem. Omar, do you want to give him 2 things to work on? I'll give him 2 things to work on. Then he has 4 things to write round.
Beautiful.
Look at this, working together.
That's how we do it. That's how we do it. And then he's gonna get 1 second faster.
There we go. No, he's gonna get 3 seconds faster. Easy peasy.
3 seconds up.
3 seconds. That's all I'm gonna say. Hey, Hassan, if there's at least not 3 seconds, we've got banned from the stream next time. No, I'm joking.
Oh man.
But all I'm going to say is the reason I want to show you this video when we have the chance, and that is this was a track that I'd never raced on before. Outdoor track with 2 braking zones, really fast flowing. So you know how that suits, that suits my driving style.
Exactly.
270cc Sodi SR5s,
Wow.
uncapped revs.
That's insane.
So you'll hear how high it revs.
Yeah.
And I just want you to bear in mind, this is my 3rd 10-minute session in.
Yeah.
And I've gone faster than the hashtag 4th ranked guy there already.
There you go. So,
and the reason why is it's suited my style, but I also implemented the 2 things I'm going to say now. You go first for your 2 things you need to improve on.
All right. Are you there, Hassan?
Yeah, I'm back.
All right. So first thing, get closer to apex points. Yeah.
Just write that down.
Make sure you're not leaving a gap to the barrier, and it's about being accurate. Your indoor track is very much about accuracy.
Yeah.
So the limit
those
is
millimeters.
My trainer also said, he if you just miss the apex by like a half a meter, you just lose 1 to 2 tenths.
And then introduce leaning. That's the best thing.
Yeah.
As we said in specific
Omar
corners,
loves his leaning.
the lean merchant, huh? As
Euro lean, as they like to say.
So
go
on to you, Guy.
So smoothness. I love driving smoothly, and smooth is fast.
Okay.
And also, I want to smoothness, and that kind of ties to my other one, which is work on that neutral steer. I can see it is working in some of these corners.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when you're doing a bit of accident, you just recognize when you do accident and you just think, wait a second, this is working. Because as you know, every time you turn the steering wheel, it creates friction, which slows you down.
Yeah.
So, and I'm actually 3. I'm going to bonus tip. Bing, bing, bing.
There we go.
There we go. Find your groove.
Yeah.
So
in a session, think to yourself, am I doing well? And it's a mental game as well as a physical game.
Yeah, exactly.
I was doing half an hour. When I did that, first 15 minutes was shocking. I was just finding my groove. Yeah. But then the main thing is recognizing a good lap. So, wait a second, that one actually I cooked. Let me try and do the same things again. Yeah, and just find the groove for me. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Listen, guys, it's been an amazing session. It is coming on to 12 o'clock now for me.
Oh my God!
I'm gonna have to call it a wrap. Guy, I would have loved to continue, but
no problem.
Listen, come on first thing next week, as we have on Sunday, and have that clip ready. Put it in the new post. I'm gonna post next week's track.
I will post it to the chat now, so it's ready. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna put it. I'm gonna put it in the post up. Put it on the new post. Today we didn't even do 5 bits of footage, but
how many did we get done?
We did about 3, but we went very much in depth.
We love in depth. We love in depth.
Yeah. We love going in depth. That's it. And I think today was packed with more value. That's the thing. It wasn't about quantity. It was about just delving down to everyone's individual thing. Thank you so much to Andre for staying as well, and everyone in the chat before we round off, because we had some comments. Let's just bring up the live chat again. We have combustible tea. How do I send in a clip? Well, you got to join the academy first. It's free to join. Pinned link on the live chat. Once I admit you into the academy, every Sunday, 6 p.m. GMT, we have 5 submissions that we're going to review. So if you can be one of the first 5 to review, then you can get on any of the Sundays.
If Combustible's still here and he desperately needs help for his tomorrow, I'm going to post a link to my Discord server. I can host a call.
Go for it.
Tomorrow morning as early as possible, maybe even tonight, okay?
Go for it.
And if anyone needs any more help, I'm free because I'm always free. I don't get sleep. I'm powered by horses and coffee. Anyway, and we could post that link.
Gree Racing. Excellent.
Thank you.
Right.
Sorry to intrude. Carry on.
We're going to wrap up for today. It's been an excellent stream. The replay will be on the Academy page. The replay will also be on the YouTube live section. And until next week, Sunday, 6 p.m., guys, we will catch you next time. Take care.
Yeah.
Good night. Good night, guys.
Oh, Omar.
Before,
I just want to say, I really appreciate the help. as well as you're giving this out free, these tips, which I really appreciate
It's
a
my
lot.
pleasure.
And
It's
I
my
think
pleasure.
also the others as well really appreciate it.
Of course,
Yes.
my friend, my pleasure.
It's nice to see the community building. That's what we want at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Nice community of drivers. It's rental karting that brings us together. And when you guys improve at your tracks, community improves as well.
There we go.
So keep up the practice, as you said, and keep posting your sort of footage when you get the chance on the academy page as well. Yeah.
All I'm going to say is curse Cameron Dass and his overpriced karting handbook. We do it for free
Until
over
the
here,
next
boys.
until the next video, guys. Good night. Take care.
And Guy, is it possible I can be a member of your Discord server?
Of